evening, good morning, wherever you may be around the globe in the chat room, on another planet, or on the other side. This is Late Night in the Midlands, and I am Michael Vera. I hope everybody had a really good Christmas, whether you celebrate Christmas or not. I hope you had a good Christmas, either way. So, folks, this is Late Night in the Midlands. I'm Michael Vera. This broadcast, it's coming at you live from the east coast of the United States, the capital city, Columbia, South Carolina, where it is still warm and still rainy, but it is warm. So we're looking forward to a really, I think, informative show tonight. I've got Richard Lowe Jr. joining me. He's been here once before. We talked about other things last time. This time he is coming to talk about survival, disasters, whatever it might be, whether it be Planet X or whatever. And by the way, I mentioned before the break, that is the Christmas break, that I had posted pictures that were sent to me from a listener into our forums, our late nighter forums. I have those pictures there. I've blown them up. I've looked at, here's the thing. All right. Somebody else has sent me pictures that look almost just like that. The only difference is that I see the lens flare a lot clearer, so it was clear to say, well, that's just lens flare. But so after looking at these pictures more closely, I don't know. I'm not so sure. I'm saying that it could be some kind of flare, but I didn't think it was. So I don't know. Everyone else could look at it. Here's the thing. I'm going outside and I'm looking in the sky and I'm not seeing nothing like that. So if you're in a couple states away and you're seeing it, there's no reason why I shouldn't be seeing it too. You must have a magic camera, and I don't. So tell me where you purchased your magic camera, and I will go get one too. And unless I could, these things could be proven, I can't, ride on them and say that they're so. So anyways, but they're there for you to look at, and that's why they're in the forum. So everybody else can comment and tell us what you think, whatever that might be. So tonight we'll be talking about survival. And folks, with historic rainfalls not long ago here, historic snowstorms and all this, everything, it seems like every time something happens now, it's historical. So we'll be talking tonight because I think it's necessary. You look at the tornadoes that went through Texas, Dallas, and people got killed. Some serious stuff. And boy, the day after Christmas too, and that's rough. And so we had the threat of severe weather here, but thankfully nothing happened. And I know there's many people who will think, oh, nothing ever happens, and it's people like that who get caught up in like those historical rains we had here in the Carolinas not too long ago. All right, so that's what we got going tonight. In the meantime, get on over to the website, www.latenightinthe-midlands.com. Become a member, be informed, and by all means, inform others. Let me inform you of some news that we have here. I've got some things up. Oh, and by the way, I've decided what we'll do with the rest of this week. Tomorrow, and you can check the schedule on our website and see everybody listed there. We got Russ Tanner joining us tomorrow. We'll be talking about chemtrails, geoengineering. That will be tomorrow night's topic. And then on Wednesday the 30th, rather than wait for New Year's Eve, which I will be off on New Year's Eve, but back on New Year's, something like that. But anyways, on Wednesday, we've got the year in review. We'll go over some of the different big news headlines briefly. And, of course, we'll get into some other things, too, whether it be in the independent or alternative medias. And so we're going to do a lot of things, the big stories and the big shills and of 2015 and so on and so forth. So we're going to have a good time. I'll be solo, I think, for about the first hour, and then Ira will be joining me, and maybe other hosts on this network will be joining me as well. And I'll tell you, lately, this last year, I have, I tell Autumn all the time, some people bird watch, some people, I don't know, watch animals of all kinds, right? Well, me, I'm a people watcher. I like to watch people because I find that more interesting than anything else. People, they're supposed to be so intelligent, but if you watch, you just see them do the dumbest things all the time. And so there's plenty who have stamped themselves as some truth seekers, and they're really not. And you can tell when you listen to the stuff that they try to feed you, the absolute utter nonsense that they try to pass over on you. And the sad thing is that a lot of people fall for it. So we'll talk a little bit about that too. And again, folks, I'm not a hater. I don't just go after people because it's fun or anything. I say it like I see it, That's what a lot of us do here on this network, really. I think just about all of us, say it like we see it. Anyways, let's get into some of this news and discovery that I have here. Something strange is sliding across the surface of Mars. Kind of like them sailing stones, right? Anyways, it says here, a strange phenomena spotted on the surface of the red planet by Google Mars observers. Skid marks that look like the result of rocks sliding across the ground. And they ask, what else could it be? Well, the first thought is that the slide marks resemble those made by the sailing stones. Death Valley, Ryan and I did a pretty big show on that together. I don't know how long ago it was. Several months back. Maybe a year ago it might be now. I don't know. But we did a pretty good show on that, and we talked about it. And they say here that the mystery was solved in 2014 as far as those sailing stones go. But that's what they say. That's not true. It can't be, because what they're saying is that they had a time lapse of cameras and it showed water freezing into window pane ice under the 700-pound stones, allowing light winds to move them around. Okay, if we're going to go with that, then we have to ask, well, then how is it happening on the moon too? Because this same phenomena happens on the moon, and we're told that the moon doesn't have anything in the way of an atmosphere. So how's that happening? And now you're seeing it again on Mars, these stones moving around. And I've had this theory that I've thrown around since that night, and that is this, and I'll say it again at the risk of being repeating what I say here, but you've got these rocks, and in these rocks, I'm sure, are metal fragments and stuff. I'm guessing. I'm just assuming. I could be wrong. But there's probably some kind of metals within these rocks, right? And so you might have something below the ground that is heavily magnetized, and it's moving these rocks with it. Could be a UFO, could be, I don't know, anything like that. Just throwing it out there. I don't know. These rocks are traveling. And I don't believe that ice is forming underneath them and they're sliding. These are 700 pounds. So, I'm sure they're putting little ditches and dents where they sit. I guess they're getting little legs and they're pushing their way out of those holes, apparently. But anyways, all this is linked up over on News and Discovery on LateNightInTheMidlands.com. I was reading this one today. It's kind of a strange one. Panic hits Indian village, it says, as many see small alien. Residents of this Indian village in Boliar are, they say, in a panic after many of them witnessed a small, strange being wandering around at night. They say in this case, strange means the being is the size of a small child with a human face that speaks in an unknown language and sometimes runs on all four. They ask alien, human-cat hybrid, or something else. So there's the rest of that story is there for you too if you're interested. I say human cat, and Kepler over here looks at me And he's been trying to park his butt underneath my chair here, and I keep kicking him out of there because it's not good. Because if I decide to move, I'm going to run him over with my chair. But he's insisting, and he's looking at me because of human cats. See, he's probably, this is probably it. You know, you look at these different animals and stuff, like, let's go with cats. So if you're a cat hybrid type human-like race, right, and you're kind of hovering above the planet, what's the best way to keep an eye on the human race, right? So make a bunch of cloned little kitties and throw them down on Earth and say, well, these suckers, kind of like what Obama's doing with the refugees, telling us, oh, we've got to let them come in. You know, so they might be doing that with these cats. And so we allow them in our homes, and really their eyeballs are cameras. And I'm just kidding. People, don't go throwing your animals out of the house now. There are people out there who are so paranoid that they would do that. But no, the cat's not a camera. NASA used Santa Claus as a code name. I've heard about this. I think Ryan might have brought this up once. NASA used Santa Claus as a code name for 3 UFOs spotted during the lunar landings. And this claim comes from a former employee, claims to have walked into a restricted area where she saw UFOs in pictures. She says NASA has airbrushed UFOs from thousands of pictures, so they erase them, basically, so you don't see them there. Claims that NASA has threatened people with their retirement if they speak. Of course, ask Richard Hoagland. He could probably tell you a little bit more about something like this. 3 flying saucers, they say, were spotted on the moon. She says was spotted on the moon during NASA's lunar landings, according to the bizarre, as they say, claims of this former NASA contractor. And so this is linked up as well. I mean, you know, and how much, I mean, for how long will we just keep blowing people off as nutcases? I mean, you know, it's almost impossible to, and yeah, there are a lot of nutcases out there, but I mean, at some point we've got to listen to somebody, and at some point one of these whistleblowers got to give us irrefutable evidence too, and that's important as well, and then we wouldn't have these debates. For me, I mean, you don't have to convince me. I know we're not alone, but there's a lot of people out there who you do have to convince because they won't believe it. They won't believe it. Now, moving on to more disgusting things, you've heard of antibiotics starting to be useless. They rendered useless against these super bacterias now, because obviously they're being overprescribed. Every time somebody goes in with a runny nose, they're getting put on an antibiotic, and so these things are becoming immune. And they're saying that soon something like gonorrhea could soon become untreatable. Imagine. I mean, look at all these things that we knock out with stuff like antibiotics. Of course, there's natural remedies too, but I guess if you're going through something like this here, you'd probably want the quickest solution, I would assume. But anyways, England's chief medical officer, Dame Sally Davies, says that pharmacies are on the rise. They're paranoid, really, because these drugs are dealing with a restricted strain, as it's put here. This is broken up here, but anyways, it's not on the website. So if you go check it out there. I'm missing half of it here, but anyways, yeah. So resistant to antibiotics, basically. So if you are living in, where is this, anyways? This is in. I don't know. That part's missing too, but it's not in the United States. There's somewhere else that they're having a big problem with it now, and it's going to wind up over on our shores as well, is what they're saying here. But again, half of it is missing. So, but hey, if you've got gonorrhea, watch out. That's all. All right. So moving on to something that's not missing: 191 million U.S. voter registration records leaked in mysterious database. They're already getting ready to fix stuff, aren't they? A white hat hacker has uncovered a database sitting on the web containing various pieces of personal information related to 191 million American citizens registered to vote. On top of the problems of disclosing such a significant leak, they say no one knows who is actually responsible for the misconfiguration that left the data open to anyone. So they're already getting ready to make sure they get the votes going to Hillary, probably. But, and again, the votes haven't counted. I get that. But, they make it look like they count, right? And, they don't count because we don't care. We don't do anything about it. We let them do what they want, right? AI anxiety. Here's another one you might want to check out. Speaking of artificial intelligence, it seems like that's getting the rap for everything now with some people. It's like everything, if you don't agree or if there's any disagreement with, it's artificial intelligence doing it. It's AI. AI is doing it. Everything's AI. Everything, and I'm sure a lot of things are AI, right? Or at least going that way. But everything's AI now. Everything. What? You don't agree with me? Oh, he's under control of AI. It's just insane. Insane. That's something else we're going to talk about on the 30th, as a matter of fact. Last but not least, I'll stop torturing you. Russia, U.S. protecting ISIS. See, Russia's not stupid. They know. The United States protecting ISIS. Russia's defense ministry spokesman commented on this as a result of the United States refusing to share information with Russia regarding ISIS. You would think you've got a common enemy, right? You would think that you would work together to get rid of this common enemy. But for some reason, the United States don't want no part of that. So what does that tell you? No, we really don't want to blow up our buddies, our people, Obama's army. We don't want to blow them up. That's linked up as well. You could go check it out. And, hey, again, go check out the antibiotic story. But here's the thing. Again, it's missing here, half of it, but it's all up on the website if you want to go check it out. And here's the thing. There's natural stuff you could take, too, for most of this stuff, if not all of it. There's natural things. I know silver, for one, is really, really good for, I don't know about gonorrhea. Again, you're playing Russian roulette there. I don't know. But for ear infections and different things like that, any kind of really infection. I don't know about bacterial. I don't know I think gonorrhea is a bacterial infection or maybe even a virus. I don't know. You'd have to ask somebody who's gone down that road. But to think that something simple like that, and really it is simple. It's a simple thing to cure. But at one time it wasn't. And now we're rolling into a time again where something like this, will be uncurable, which means so will bronchitis and all these other things. So you better know the natural cures. And tonight we'll talk with my guest and discuss some of these natural things that we could do and have handy. So when there is a disaster, because, chances are you're not going to be able to go to the hospital. You're not going to be able to, run down to your local drugstore and pick up whatever. You're going to be in trouble, right? We're talking about disasters here. So that's what we'll be talking about tonight. And we'd love to hear from any of you who want to join in once we get things rolling, not right away. Give us a little bit. And we'd love to hear from you. Got questions or comments? You may call in with them later in the show. Folks, this is Late Night in the Midlands. I'm Michael Vera. We're going to take a break, and then we'll be back. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, this is Dick Farrell, here to tell you about OxySilver. Legally available only through CureShop.com and HealthyWorldStore.com. Don't be fooled buying silver products from copycats and criminals. You've heard Dr. Leonard Horowitz and experts urge you to avoid deadly vaccinations and illegal operators selling stolen OxySilver and OxySilver copycats. You've heard experts tell you about suppression in alternative medicine and confusing propaganda in healthcare and the truth movement. Read Dr. Horowitz's book, Healing Celebrations, to learn how miracle healings can be made to happen through faith, prayer, and a pure diet. Get great immunity using vitamin C, D, and OxySilver, Liquid Dentist, GI Flora Pro, a top-shelf probiotic. Use Green Harvest as a great-tasting meal substitute for energizing organic nutrients and losing weight. And Zeolove, and natural clays for detoxifying your body. More advice, all these products and more are available from theCureShop.com. Including OxySilver, the world's most powerful silver hydrosol. Electro-energized to put risky injections, toxic antibiotics, and deadly drug pushers out of business. OxySilver is covalently bonded to water. Unlike any other silver product using the frequency of chlorophyll 528, what Dr. Horowitz explains is pure tone love, the universal healer. NASA originally developed covalently body silver hydrosols to keep astronauts healthy in space. Dr. Horowitz added the 528 frequency to NASA's formula and more. OxySilver works three ways to electrocute dangerous germs better than anything, far better than all leading silver products, and without any risk. OxySilver oxygenates and resonates with 528 for faster healing. So help save lives, putting drug lords and criminals out of business, and keep the LNM network broadcasting. Register for our free cooperative at healthworldaffiliates.com/4948. That's healthworldaffiliates.com/4948. And buy OxySilver and other great products in package specials at great discounts from theCureShop.com. Buy OxySilver, GI Flora Pro, Green Harvest, Zeolove, and Love Minerals at great discounts at CureShop.com. That's CureShop.com with two P's. CureShoppe.com. Or call toll free at 1-888-621-7611. That's 1-888-621-7611. Do it now.
L&M fans and late-nighters around the world. Have you captured something on that photo or video of yours? Send in your photos and videos of ghosts, orbs, UFOs, Planet X, or just about anything content related by submitting them to the Late Night in the Midlands Facebook group or fan page, or you can submit them on Twitter using hashtag L&M Radio. And if you would rather stay anonymous, then email them to us at mv@latenightinthemidlands.com. We will share them at our new fan page on the L&M website and may even ask you to come on air a few minutes and tell us about your photo or video. Late Night in the Midlands. We're building a bridge to the truth and beyond.
Share our content and use the hashtag LNM Radio for your chance to win a free subscription. Those who use it at least 10 times a month will find themselves entered into a drawing every month to win a free 2-month subscription from Late Night in the Midlands. So spread our news, spread our website, and use hashtag LNM Radio.
The L&M Radio Network offers a moderated chat room at www.latenightinthemidlands.com. Just click the chat and listen page from the drop-down menu at the top of any page on the website, or click the Listen Live button at the top of the homepage at www.latenightinthemidlands.com.
Is there proof of God's existence in our government's records? Author Jose Collazo brings his years of research into this stunning question to light with his new book. Discover how new and experimental technologies may change our world forever and uncover monumental proof and answers to mankind's greatest questions in God Does Exist, No More Nuclear Testing, and more.
You could find Jose Collazo's book, America's New Slavery, on Amazon.com. This show is for the mentally sane and for those who accept an alternate reality to the lie you have been told. If you're politically correct, politically brainwashed, or politically insane, then I recommend you turn the dial immediately and go back to the lies and distorted reality that makes you feel secure in your unsecure life. We cover everything, should not be mistaken for we go along to get along. We are not those other shows who guide you down a dark hall because seeing is not beneficial to their bottom line. No, we turn a light on so you can truly see what lies ahead. We are not alternative, but if we were, then we would be an alternative to the lies, not the news, because sometimes the alternative is no better. We are independent. We are L&M, and we are saying it like it is. L&M Radio, exposing the truth, one show at a time. Hey, late nighters. What if I told you there's a way to hear some of our show content free on YouTube? Well, it just so happens there's a guy and supports Late Night in the Midlands, and he owns a YouTube channel I highly recommend. Non-Human Entities. Yes, non-human entities. And if you do not have a pencil handy, you can just click one of the many banners on our website. Non-Human Entities. That's Non-Human Entities. Again, just look for them on YouTube or click the banner on LateNightInTheMidlands.com for Non-Human Entities. All right, folks, we are back. I've certainly noticed the southern skies, and if you're going to tell me that they look normal, then I'm going to have to ask you to get off the pharmaceuticals or put down the crack pipe, because they don't look normal. There's a lot of chemtrailing going on around here, and and we're going to talk about that tomorrow night with my guest. Tonight, however, we're going to talk about survival, and I don't know if there's really too much to say about surviving chemtrails, and I'll say something else. I finally got around to watching some of these videos with where you use the wine, and apparently you're getting nanobots that are coming out of your mouth or what have you. Maybe some of you know what I'm talking about. This test that some have been saying you've got to do, and then you're supposed to look under a microscope or something like that and see these nanobots. Well, I've watched some of the videos, and I've even seen people doing it without microphones, microscopes. And yeah, I see things moving, but here's the problem I have. We've got a lot of bacteria in our mouth. So how do I know? How do I know what I'm looking at there? I'm not a chemist. I'm not a biologist. So I don't know. I would need somebody who knows about these things to, explain it to me and show me the proof of what they are. I know that sucks. I won't go along to get along. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying that, I see stuff moving. I'm not going to argue about that. There's stuff in there. And when you add the alcohol to it, boy, they go crazy. But what is it? It's just kind of, I don't know. But anyways, I have seen it, and yeah, there's something there. But maybe somebody could explain it sometime. Maybe we could have somebody on the show, and they could explain it even. But right now, I do want to introduce you to my guest. But before I even do that, please get over to LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed. And by all means, inform others. Folks, help us out. Donate. Subscribe. It keeps us on the air. We're not like these other so-called networks. We're not going along to get along. We're not saying what you want to hear so we could get your $5 or $7.95 or whatever it is. We're telling you the truth based on our research, based on our guests. I'm not saying all the guests are telling you 100% truth. I'm expecting them to, but sometimes when you do these types of shows, some stuff really gets out there. But you know what? It doesn't matter how weird or crazy it may seem. I always look into it. People send me some pretty wild stuff, and I'm always open. I'll look into it. But anyhow, Richard Lowe Jr. is my guest. He is the CEO and as well as professional ghostwriter, technical writer, and copywriter for the Writing King. In addition, he works with LinkedIn Makeover and helps people use LinkedIn to their advantage. His books are also available on Amazon.com. We have him linked up on LateNightInTheMidlands.com. On our homepage, in the picture slider, you could also get him or his links on the schedule page. He says he could easily take part in a full show on surviving disasters. And he says it's the topic of one of his books, and the book is called Real World Survival, Preparing for and Surviving Disasters. And so I took him up on that, and we are going to talk about that tonight with Richard. So without rambling on too much more here, let me introduce him and bring him aboard. Let's see. All right, we're ringing. And we're ringing. And we're still ringing. I don't know if it's just not connecting to him yet, or if he's not got to the phone yet, but we're trying, folks. We'll see where it goes. I know I've got the right number. Well, all right. I guess we'll try again here and make sure the number's right. Here we go. Live radio, folks. Here it is. See, I don't have anybody working in the back rooms, doing all this stuff for me. I just, take it as it is. No. Don't look like he's answering. Could he have forgotten that he has a show with me tonight? I wonder. Surviving the radio show. Maybe we'll call tonight. No, I am not getting an answer. So, all right. Well, let me try to shoot him an email and see if we could fix this, folks. And if we can't fix it, we'll be taking another route here is all. So, I don't know. I'll play something for you. And hang on with me for just a few minutes. This is Late Night in the Midlands, and I am Michael Vera. All right. Well, we've done all we can, folks. It turns out I think the weather got the best of my guest tonight, is what I'm guessing, because he knew we had a show, and he's not the type of guy that would jap out on it. He was actually looking forward to it. So, interesting, but I think the weather did it. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he forgot, because, again, looking forward to it, and so was I. But that's okay. My trusty partner, Ira, is going to jump on here with me. And, well, we could still talk about survival. We could talk about anything you want. So that's what we could do now. And so I will open lines in just a few minutes. If anybody, open the line, I'll say. If anybody wants to call in and talk with us, whatever might be on your mind. Is it weather? Is it, I don't know, political? Is it survival? Whatever it might be. UFO, nanobots, you name it. We'll take your calls for just about anything, I guess. I don't want to talk about the gonorrhea, though, so leave that one out. But anything else, I'll be more than happy to talk about. Ira, welcome aboard, my friend. It never ends, huh?
Indeed. How's my sound for you tonight?
You sound fantastic. Nice, loud, and clear.
Great. Just wanted to make sure before we moved on to everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think my guest got nailed by the weather tonight.
Most likely, yeah. We've had a lot of really bad weather going on up here in Indiana too, so it wouldn't shock me. The weather's just really funky over the past couple of days.
Yeah, it is. We've gotten a lot of rain. I'm telling you, I went for my walk. Each day I go for my walk. I take a long walk up the road, and there's this there's like a small, I don't know what you'd call it. It's almost like a piece of lake. It looks like a lake. It's really big, but I guess it's not a lake, though. But anyways, this thing, because of all the rain we've got, it's overflowed. And this walk that I take, this water runs underneath the road. Well, I'm noticing each day I'm walking it, more and more of the road is disappearing. I mean, literally, chunks of earth are disappearing. I'm getting to the point where I'm kind of second-guessing whether I should walk by anymore.
Yeah, it's eroding out from underneath it.
Yeah, it is. So it's fine. We've seen a lot of roads like that, and the rain just keeps coming, though. I mean, like tonight, we've got showers again, and, but it's warm, so I'm happy about that. But so a lot of crazy stuff going on weather-wise. Dallas just got nailed with a whole bunch of tornadoes, too, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you what was weird with the Dallas tornadoes thing is that in Texas that same day they had the tornado going on. Just a little bit west of them, they had a blizzard warning going on. A little bit east of them, they had heat warnings going on. I mean, it was like all four seasons happened in the state at once, basically, on the same day. It's just it's insane what was going on there. And I seriously, now I know a lot of people are going to think, oh, well, he's got his tinfoil on right now. But I'm seriously thinking that there was some manipulation that was going on there. Think about it this way. We just came away from that Paris Climate Summit. We've had them talking, oh, this is the hottest year on record, even though that's an absolute lie. I mean, just on and on and on. It just never ends. I'm wondering basically if they are manipulating things and to make us in the masses say, well, see, they are right. There is global warming going on. There is this stuff going on,
That's just it. And, and that's what they're doing. I mean, so people say, well, you can't deny the weather's gone crazy and it's changed. Well, no, and we're not going to deny that. But let's talk about the cause of all this.
Right. And don't be fooled, too. I mean, this is not the first time in history that something like that in Texas has occurred. They have had tornadoes in December and January in Texas in the past. So, I mean, it's not a unique experience. It's ultra rare, yes, but it's not a unique experience. So, just for those that are out there that are saying, oh, well, it's a record-setting event and it's never happened before. No, it has happened before. It's just been a long time.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's just like here, they said historic rains. And, okay, well, since they've been keeping track, I guess, because there was this little thing called Noah's Flood. And, now, Now, people want to debate that too, and you know what? I'll debate right along with you. I don't know exactly what happened. I wasn't there, but I was here in Carolina when the rains came, and a small ark would have done you some justice.
Yeah, you would have been better off with it. Yeah,
yeah. You
guys got bad down there. I mean, look at what's happened over this past year. If there was some kind of actual things happening like what they claim, what they claim with the whole climate change issue. If that was actually happening as it occurred, as they're saying, then it would happen on a slower basis. It wouldn't be last year being the coldest on record, and this year being the hottest on record. It's just not going to happen that way.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something else. You look at the drought in California and then the excessive rains in the other parts of the country, such as the East Coast. Come on, there's definitely manipulation, and it's not even that I have to convince you of it. I mean, all you've got to do is do your research, and they've admitted to geoengineering programs. I mean, this is happening.
Well, and funnily enough, earlier on my show, I was doing my show Open Eyes here right before you went live, and one of the things that I talked about was an article that just came out over this weekend talking about record snowpack going on in California right now. They're at 112% of normal in California as far as water goes. So if they're at 112% of what they normally get water-wise in California, how is there a drought?
Well, there you go. That's true, too. And, I was talking with Josh, my son, last night we were talking about earthquakes. And he says, what were the biggest earthquakes that's ever happened? So we talked a little bit about that. And then I told him something that I found doing research is that in a lot of these cases, you find that, there'll be flooding or some kind of heavy rains. I mean, something big that happens in an area, and then it's something like a year later, maybe a little more, that they wind up having some big earthquake. Yeah. It seems. And so I'm guessing that like with us here, all the rain we got, not going to affect us right away, but I've told Josh, I says, I'm saying between now and January of 2017, I bet South Carolina has a big earthquake. And
I'd be surprised. Yeah.
I think it's going to, because we got that huge fault going through Charleston and even parts of Columbia here. And all the rain we've gotten. So, that stuff's lubricated now. It can move around.
Yep. And not only that, but, keep in mind as well that water is like one of the only substances that doesn't compress unless it's frozen. It will compress then, but then it just does some other strange things with it. But, on a basis where it's not frozen, it doesn't compress like oil does. So like the crude oil and sweet oil that you find down in the ground, it has a compression factor to it that acts as a shock absorber when those plates are moving and when those fault lines are moving back and forth with each other and grading. With the water down there, it acts differently. It acts as if it's, just as an example, I had a car at one point in time that the shock absorber was split in half. It was literally snapped in half. So when I'd go over a bump, it didn't just kind of bounce. It went blam. You can hear the whole car just like you just got into a plane crash or something. I think that's what happens with the plates when you have injected all this water down in there. It acts basically as if that shock absorber has been broken and these things just slam against each other because they don't compress. That's my take on it anyways.
Well, yeah. And I find that large amounts of water will do that. And mind you, people will say, well, the flood happened and now it's over. But the water's still coming. We're still got rain that's still happening here. Well, it might not be covering everywhere, but there's a lot of rain. And again, I'm saying by January of 2017, not January of this year. And I think in between that time, if the patterns are right, then there's going to be a shakeup here, and that goes for anywhere else. Like look at California now, all the drought they've had. Now let rains and stuff start coming in and start getting mudslides and all this stuff, and snow and melting snow, and let that start happening. And they'll get some flooding, and then before you know it, sometime a year and a half later, there'll be some big earthquake. Now,
I think you're on the right track with it, Michael. I really do.
And I would like to see what was going on in Japan before theirs. Now, there's some who say that nukes were set off near in the waters of Japan. Now, I've never had any solid proof of that. I mean,
I've heard that myself, and I did quite a bit of investigation when that first started flying around, and there are some indications that is a possibility. I mean, there is like a higher bit of radiation that's going on at the time that the earthquake ended up taking place, but then at the same time you've got the whole Fukushima thing going on, so that may not be the most reliable information either, you know? So it's just kind of very much tossed in the air, iffy for my mind, as to whether or not that was set off by a nuke or something. But was it set off by something else? Well, we know that they have different things like scalar technologies, you know, that can be used to do the exact same type of thing.
They will be attaching directed energy weapons to fighter jets. This is going to be coming, I think, in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. And they've already got them, but they're just telling us that, hey, look,
breakthrough for a while.
Yeah, breakthrough. Hey, don't talk about 9/11 or Judy Wood. No. You know?
Yeah.
So they have had this technology for a while. And just like they've had the weather weaponry technology in space. I mean, I think, honestly, all this time, I think HAARP has been, it's probably been used in some manner, but I think it's been more of a distraction as to what they really have floating above us.
Yeah, it's that, it's a honeypot, you know, it's a distraction away from the actual good stuff that they have going on. You look at some of the patents, for instance, on the weather manipulation, and there are some legitly scary things within those patents as far as weather manipulating goes. It's just insane what they have proposed and what they have built. Just patented, you know?
Well, yeah, it is. And I mean, there's plenty of evidence to it out there. And, you know, I just looking at the sky, I bet most people don't do what I'll do. Like when I'm outside, I'm embarrassing to some people because, you know, I'll stop people and I'll say, "Look, you see that? You know, I want to see what they say. What do you think? You know, yeah, you know, getting cloudy." It's like, no, you idiot, that's not clouds. It's like, come on, you know, you got to get people looking. You got to get them away from their smartphones because their phones are smarter than they are, and make them look up. That's what you got to do. You know, and it's like when I had this last UFO sighting. You know, the lady, she couldn't get in her car quick enough and get the hell out of there.
Yeah,
He's a crazy white boy. You know, it's like,
but you're right. I mean, most of the problem as far as that chemtrailing issue is concerned is that they've been staring down at their phones so long that they don't even realize what the sky looks like now, even compared to the past. I mean, do they even remember what it looked like before?
It was so bad the other night, Ira, the other day, that it was clouds were raining clouds. I mean, fake clouds had fake clouds raining out of them. I mean, it looked like it would look if it was raining, except for it was like cloud all dropping down. It looked like it was like somebody's paintbrush got too wet and it ran down the canvas. And that's what it looked like.
That is crazy. I know they've been chemtrailing like crazy up here too, so... Yeah. I don't know. It's pretty insane, man. What they're doing with the weather, what they're doing with you know, with everything regarding it, moving the water from one location to another. People that might tune into this show, they might listen to this and think, okay, well, these guys are really seriously crazy. They're wearing their tinfoil hats, and I don't know if I can listen to this. But if you guys do the research, you will find that this stuff really is a reality, that what we're saying here is the truth. You look at the whole Paris thing when they came up with the climate summit there in Paris over this past month. One of the things that they did in that summit was come to agreements in regards to changing the whole way that we treat emissions, for instance. But what we're going to have to do here in the United States, it's been estimated, is pay at least 3% of our gross domestic product per year to get this thing off the ground.
Oh, yeah, the rich get richer and the poor become more slaves.
Yes, moving the money from one location to another, moving it out of the hands of the people that have it and into the hands of the people that want it.
And the last I knew, Russia, knows Putin knows it's a big scam, and he don't want nothing to do with it. And I think China told him to go to hell with it too.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at, again, the way that they do the science behind the climate change stuff. It's a fraudulent science. There's no denying it. Yeah. If they eliminate the data from the data pools because it doesn't fit in with their theory, then that's not science.
Yeah, and look at that guy Kerry, that Kerry character who's running. He's like the new Al Gore, running out about how climate change. The guy looks like a Muppet, don't he?
And he tries to claim that terrorism is because of climate change. We have terrorism in the world because the climate is different and they don't have jobs. So he's pushed the Department of Defense to give jobs to the terrorists so that they will have something to do and not commit terrorism.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful? It's the weather. It's because it's 130 degrees there one day or another, and well, damn it, we're making them put these suicide vests on. They're trying to keep cool with the nice metals and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Unbelievable, man. These clowns are on their way out. They really are. I think that people are waking up. I'm really believing it now that there are a whole lot more people waking up. And I hate to say it, but it almost took something like Trump saying some of the things he said for it's like all these people who have hid in the closet were afraid to offend anyone are actually starting to come out of the woodwork now.
I've noticed that too. It's like he's very galvanizing is the way that I would put it. He kind of forces you to declare one way or the other, whether you like to do it or not, whether you really want to do it or not, you're going to, he's really good for that. If nothing else, I would say that he is really good for putting that kind of thing together. And I'm appreciative of it because that's what we need. We need people to actually start taking stands, whether or not they agree with like me or not, for instance. I don't care. As long as they are doing something besides sitting on their fat butts playing on their smartphones.
Speaking of fat butts, did you hear Alex Jones's little cry out?
Oh yeah.
So, what's your thoughts on that? You could probably imagine what mine are, and I'll share them with you. But
I'll tell you what. When I saw that video and I sent it over your way, the first thing that came to my mind was this is bull. Every bit of it, every word that dripped out of his lips was completely and utterly full of crap. I did not find anything in relation to any kind of information as to whether or not his story was legit with this. I guess we can tell what it was just so people have an idea. So he came out with a video December 23rd, I believe it was, on YouTube. And in the video, he claimed that he was the target of an assassination plot. Someone was out to assassinate him in California while he was there. And one of the what ended up happening to resolve the situation was there was a gun battle that took place between the assassin and the police, and that a police officer died in relation to him trying to stop this assassin from killing Alex Jones.
And here's the funny thing. When this was brought to my attention, I immediately went to the police departments and their sites. I looked for any stitch of, and believe me, folks, I know how to research stuff. And I looked and looked and looked and looked and looked, and I didn't find, if a police officer was shot down, taking on an assassin, I would guess you're going to find that somewhere, right?
Absolutely. You're going to find it somewhere. Even a report of the police officer dying, in a gun battle. And there was nothing from anywhere around that time period about that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And, and here's the funny thing. This is, folks, here we go. All right, let me just do it. I was going to save this, but I might as well just go ahead and do it. You'll notice you can tell a person, by their fruits as it goes, right? So, look at the shills who have all come out and they make up these wild stories. We could go through them all. There's been the Stu Webbs who have come out. They one night they'll come on, they'll get on, they'll put their neck braces on, they'll do these videos, and they'll tell you how people are trying to kill him, and for what, right? Okay, so there's that, him. Then you had the same night that his came out, Jeff Rentz also came out and said someone tried to run him off the road. And I'll tell you something. I wouldn't doubt if alcohol was involved with both of those. I don't know. I'm not familiar, really, I don't know Rentz or any of that, so I can't really say for sure with him. But with Stu Webb, I can assure you, if he ran off the road, it's because he passed out at the wheel, probably.
Indeed.
Then you had Mr. Bell, who came out and says that people were shooting, but you can't find a damn thing about that either, except for the fact that he's copy and pasted some stuff and posted it, which could be anything. And I'm guessing, okay, so you quit your show. You quit your show because you don't know if it was gunshots or fireworks. And so you figure if you don't do your show, if somebody wants you, they're coming to get you. It doesn't matter. It's something you've done, not something you're going to do. So, I don't buy that either. I found no evidence whatsoever. And if there is a police report, I say stop making false police reports. It's that simple. And so now you've got Alex Jones, too, coming out and saying somebody's tried to kill him. And, they've got some hardcore fans who will say, oh, you guys are just jealous and nobody wants to kill you because you're nobodies. Maybe you're right. I don't know. But these guys, they're so full of it. I mean, show some proof. Come on, a little bit of, if I get shot at, listen, I got stopped crossing the street by the little Barney Fife guy, and I put the ticket online, let everyone see what happened. Come on, you don't have a police report you could scan and put online and show people that this happened? You can't give us something?
It's the old phrase, extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. If somebody is coming at you coming after you to kill you as an assassin, that's going to take some proof for me to believe. I'm not going to just sit there and say, oh, well, great. I saw comment after comment on the YouTube video that he had put out with this saying, oh, well, God's got his angels wrapping his wings around you and you're safe and protected and I'm always going to believe you and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just sitting here going, why? What did he just prove? What did he just give you as proof saying that this stuff happened? This is an extraordinary claim. For him to claim this, especially in relation to things that he's claimed in the past, again, consider the source. You're right with the you shall know them by their fruits. He's not put out very good fruit.
Exactly. And, anybody could put out anything, on the line. I mean, I could right now, I could go, oh my God, everyone hold on. And I could put music on. And then I could even go call the police and say, I think there was gunshots. Big deal. They're going to come, and you at least have a report to put out there, right? I mean, not even that. I mean, come on. If you're going to bullshit, then, bullshit good.
Tell a better story.
Yeah, and it's, even if it did happen, I mean, really, then it's some psycho who's just got it out for you and not for what you're talking about. Because the one guy, all he's talking about is like ghost, and he doesn't have an opinion on anything. I mean, it's always, well, that could be.
Yeah. Well, what button did he push to make somebody want to kill him?
Well, maybe someone's mad because he won't make a decision either way. It always could be. And the other one don't believe in coincidences. And then you got Hoagland, who he says that his heart attack, that was an assassination attempt on him. So why don't I be one of those people and just say, oh, that heart attack I had in September of 2014 had nothing to do with me smoking, had nothing to do with stress and all the other things. No, none of that. No, somebody tried to kill me. And maybe they did. I don't know. But, I'm not coming out and saying it because I don't know that. How do I know? So to come out and say things like that, it's just publicity stunts. And look, I've said it before. These guys are getting rich. They are getting rich. They're not like you and I, Ira, who, we appreciate the little bit that we do get that keeps us going,
Absolutely.
Right? But these other guys, though, I'm telling you, Art, $60,000 a month. I'm not making that up. I'm not making it up at all. $60,000 a month, that's just subscriptions, okay? Then you got Hoagland, and imagine what Alex Jones is making. These guys are getting rich. Now,
that's not counting all the advertising that they get and the bumpers that they get from the stations that are carrying them and so on and so forth. I mean, there's a lot of money that gets involved in that stuff.
Well, exactly. And, I'm not saying that nobody deserves to make money. You do. You deserve to get paid for your time, but don't make up horse crap. Be honest, People are paying for honesty, not for your stories.
And if you're going to be a serial retiree, then just admit that that's what you are. You're coming back to make a little bit more money to survive your retirement. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with doing that either, but just be honest about it.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm not going to call him Art Bell no more. I'm going to call him Brett Favre. Because he retires as many times as Brett Favre, I think. But listen, I honestly, and I don't have no proof of this either way, but I think it was all a plan. I think that he was going to come back, build up the audience a bit, and then hand it over to the rookie. And assuming it's a rookie, sounds like a rookie. But hand it over to the rookie, and then, of course, he sits in the back and still makes a few dollars, and and so on and so forth. But what I don't like is how they tried to tie me up in all that mess. I mean, come on. Anyways.
Take you down at the same time, basically.
Well, yeah, I mean, because this is, and then he talks about coast to coast, too. Let me get that off my chest, too. You're talking about coast to coast, Art Bell. You sold it to him. You're the one that signed the dotted line and gave it to him. But then you say, what are you complaining about? That'd be like me, somebody buying out, like Premier Network, buying out L&M, right? And then me starting another show 5 years from now and then complaining about what they did to me. You signed the damn paper. Yeah. I mean, what'd they do to you? So, I don't know.
They didn't hold a gun to your head and make you sign on the dotted line.
Well, exactly. Again, it's for them. It's about ratings and all that. And yeah, I'd love millions and millions of listeners too, but I'm not going to BS to get them.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I noticed as far as like Alex Jones is concerned, for instance, is that he will do this type of thing once in a while when his ratings start to slump. When people are starting to look at him as not being as relevant, then he will do something along these lines. He'll stage something like, somebody was trying to kill me, so we had to stop him, and a cop got killed in the process. Right. Okay. So where's the proof of a cop dying on your behalf here, Alex?
And well, here's the bottom line. Claim. If they want you dead, you're dead. Ask Kennedy. Oh, you can't. He's dead. Ask William Cooper. Oh, you can't. He's dead. Ask Breitbart. Oh, you can't. He's dead. Even if he was murdered or not, I don't know. Fred Bell. We could go down the line. I mean, if they want you dead, you're dead. That's it. I mean, they're going to get you, whether it be blowing up your house or your car or shooting you or whatever it is. I mean, if you've got a sniper out for you,
you're done.
You're probably done. Yeah, probably.
You can get in there and shoot video footage in Bohemian Grove, but you can't give us any kind of proof that a cop got killed on your behalf.
I personally think he had the key to that place.
I wouldn't be surprised. But again, like I said, he's done this before. At previous times, he actually did a live broadcast, and I kid you not, he did a live broadcast talking about, there's this big attack that's going on, and people are dying and everything like that, and like did it like staging it was a whole new 9/11 type of event that was occurring. And it was all fake.
Remember when he did the show on, what was it, CNN with that Pierce Morgan guy?
Oh, yeah.
Well, There was after that circulating a video that he did after that, and he's all in the camera, and he's going, and the big guy who's following me down the road, and he's telling me that he's going to kill me, and all. Do you remember that? And he did this like big video, just like Cartman, in the playground. But anyway, these guys are all showboats. I mean, really. I mean, if you're that worried about getting killed, then shut up and go away. That's all, and nobody will hurt you.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, he does it at times that he kind of loses relevance to people. It's just how he does. I've seen him do it before, and I'm sure this is not going to be the only time that he does it.
I know, and people get mad when you talk about it. They'll say, stop the infighting. And, folks, I'm going to stress this again. There's no infighting with me because I am with nobody. I'm not teamed up with any of them. I'm not loyal. I'm not supposed to be loyal. I don't favor. I just don't. I do my thing and my thing only. I don't care if you think Camelot is trying to do the same thing we're doing. I don't care if you think we should be buddy. I can't overlook bull crap. And I see a lot of it with some of these people out there.
That's the big thing with me as well. It's not a matter of infighting if you are revealing that these people are infiltrating into the alternative media and are spreading nothing but lies and disinformation. That's not infighting. That's revealing the truth. There's a big difference between the two.
Well,
you can have an argument with somebody that's on the same, that's putting out legit information. They're doing the right thing. They're telling the truth, or at least the truth as has been revealed to them. They're getting the information out there. They're not disinfoing. You can still have a disagreement with that person and have that kind of an infight. But what we're discussing here is the people that literally are out there doing disinformation, putting out lies, flat out lies. That's not infighting. That's revealing those people who are there as infiltrators. And eat that.
And I've had, I've gone along with some of my guests, and I've had fun with them. Some of my guests who, like, we had one who said she was an ET and stuff, and I've had fun with that. And I say, who knows? Maybe she is. And I didn't really think she was. But some of that stuff I have fun with. But when it comes down to it, I don't tell everybody, oh, she's telling the truth. I'm honest. I don't know. I mean, I need more than just her word that it's true. But sometimes it's nice to do a fun show like that. But these guys, Art claims that he knows where there's a Bigfoot buried in all this. Well, if you knew something like that, why wouldn't you tell people? I mean, what the hell's wrong with you? But
and why not? And why not go and get it and give it to people that would legitly, scientifically do experimentation and find out the truth about what Bigfoot is then?
Because they're not in it for mankind. They're in it for their pockets. And Ryan Gable is with us. I think he's with us. Ryan, welcome. Uh-oh.
Hey, Michael. Hey, Ira.
Oh, there you are. Oh, hello. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, I thought your topic tonight was interesting.
I thought you would.
Thinking a lot about it, too. And yeah, when you start to look at all of the different cases of this, not to say that I believe or disbelieve in any claims made by anybody, just to stay neutral, but it does seem that there's an awful lot of cases like this. But, as you said, Michael, and as I was thinking while I was sitting here, in cases such as Breitbart or Aaron Swartz, if the proverbial they want you dead, you'll be dead. And here's the thing I think that most people don't realize. The technology for, I guess you could say, black operational assassinations is so advanced. I mean, we're looking at a gun that can give you a heart attack or put you in cardiac arrest back in the 60s or 70s.
Right.
Exactly.
The technology is superbly beyond anything we can imagine today. So there's also a difference between some black operation governmental agency looking to kill one group of people, one person from a group or somebody from another group, or somebody who's, I guess you might even be able to say that they're on the fringe of society, that they want to put their name in lights, so they become an assassin and they go after somebody and they try to kill them and they have no government connections whatsoever. That can happen. That doesn't mean that what that person was talking about or what that person was doing had any relevance to exposing some dark, sinister government plan. So I think it can go both ways.
Yeah, I agree with you. And what some of these guys do, like, we know that there is weaponry, like you said, a heart attack gun, where they can cause heart attacks. But then you'll get a guy who will take that truthful information and he'll put it into a bullcrap story for himself, and they'll do it just for publicity and to make you follow them when they're not. All they're doing is leading you off a cliff.
Well, sure. It's about money, really, what it comes down to. In the end, it's either about money or it's about pushing an agenda. But even the agenda can be broken down to money, honestly, when you get down to the core facts of it. But, like, for instance, this video that AJ put out as far as his assassination attempt was concerned. Oh, they're coming after me. We got to watch out for the cops. He died on my behalf. I feel so terrible.
Oh, don't forget to do the boo-hoo.
I feel so terrible about it. Anyways, this guy, he comes forward with this claim, and how many hits did he get on that video? He gets paid for each hit that he gets on his videos. Okay. So then people also go to his links on his website, and he gets paid for every time that somebody goes to the website. And at the end of the video, what does he have? By the way, buy this product. I support this product, and it is a really good one.
That's right. Yeah, if I'm putting out a video to tell all my listeners that someone just tried to off me, the last thing I'm doing is entering commercials in the end of it. You know, I don't know. That's just me, though.
30-second commercial on top of a 1.5-minute announcement about somebody trying to assassinate you. It was a 2-minute video. 1/4 of it was dedicated to an ad.
And that's what and there's people who say, well, you don't know. They really do try to kill these guys. Look. And they're just doing it now with him. I mean, and luckily some cop took a bullet for him. I don't believe it. You know, it could be true, but show me the evidence. And
I can smell a lie like a fart in a car, and it's smelling loud.
Right, and what people will try to do, and like even Art's done, he's copy and pasted something on his Facebook page. Okay, well that doesn't say who wrote it. Where's the stamps? Where's the signatures? Where's all that? It's like, something I could trace, and you know what? I'll eat my words if I'm wrong, and I'll admit I'm wrong. But I don't think I am.
Yep, exactly.
So Ryan, well, what else is on your mind?
Not necessarily anything important, but just on the subject of what you guys were talking about. I just wanted to make sure that we made a clear distinction when we say somebody's trying to kill them or they are trying to get you, by defining who they are, what they are, as opposed to some lone nut job who just wants to kill somebody to make themselves famous. There's a big difference, and again, it doesn't imply that if there really was an assassin going after one person or another, that doesn't mean that they were exposing or uncovering something that was important. And you also have to recognize that in some cases, there may be a set of they, or there may be a lone nut on the fringe of society who kills somebody. Maybe they are paid by some government agency, but they kill somebody because the work they're doing is not necessarily true, but by making them a martyr, by killing them, they can spread disinformation in that way as well. So there's a lot of different ways to look at this, and regardless of whether the claims of any of these people are true or not, it just seems like a lot of them in the last couple of years are happening more and more and more and more. And I don't know if that's greed or if that it really is happening and that we just have a lot of really bad assassins, or what the case might be. But
they're not where when the originally Hassans came out, right?
What is it?
The Hashashins. They're nothing like those old guys, right?
No, nothing like the Hashashins. Apparently not, because they really suck at their job if they are. And that's the thing to me, is that I don't even really care. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
Same here.
You look at people like a William Cooper. To be honest with you, I think there are some, and I don't really even have any names that come to mind, but I think that there are some of these people that are almost jealous of people like William Cooper, that he died for doing what he was doing and for exposing a lot of the criminality and a lot of the black dealings within our government. And he did die for that. There was a great documentary made about it, and I think a lot of people get jealous. You know, when you look at someone like an Alex Jones, I actually listen to his show quite often to pick up news stories, because he does have a lot of news stories that don't necessarily get put into the mainstream a lot, or they get left out of the mainstream or get pushed to the side. But when you listen to him, you know, a lot of times he'll bring up a William Cooper. And, you know, him and William Cooper did not see eye to eye. William Cooper did not like Alex Jones.
At all.
He didn't like Art Bell either.
It didn't like Art Bell either. So maybe, and I'm not even suggesting that this is the case, but it's just a thought that perhaps there is jealousy there in some of these cases where that guy died, he was a martyr, I want to be like him, so I'm going. Not that necessarily that's the psychological aspect that goes through their head, but it's just a thought that I have that perhaps that's part of the reason. I don't know. I think it's multi-layered. It's very complex. The point is, though, and what really actually frustrates me, especially for all of our listeners, is that there's a lot of us, and I used to be in this category too, that regardless of what these people do, whether it's another radio talk show host or a television host in terms of the alternative media, we always seem to continue to support them and back them up, regardless of what they do. It just seems like there's this inability to disconnect ourselves from someone, something, an institution, an organization, a person, when it turns out that their information is knowingly deceptive, or if they don't always tell the truth. I mean, it just seems like there's not enough skepticism injected into the reality that we all live. And I think we need to get back to having skepticism and being able to put a perspective on things. Because even when you, like if you, for example, listen to an Alex Jones, people that call into that show some of them get so fanatical because it's all about this whole religious radical ideology of Christianity and Jesus saved me and Jesus. I'm so tired of hearing about Jesus. It just makes me so sick to my stomach, and I know that most of your listeners, Michael, and most of my listeners at this point disagree with me because they say, well, Jesus saved me. Jesus didn't save anybody. You saved yourself. The story of Jesus is an astronomical allegory. You save yourself. You make decisions for yourself. If a mythology makes you feel better, then by all means use that mythology. But Jesus didn't save you or anybody else. And the strange thing about it to me is that if you explain that to somebody, immediately they go to this place where they think that you must be an antichrist figure, that you must hate religion. It's not about that at all. It's about self-empowerment. And so many people, in regards to these Alex Jones, in regards to these Art Bell, they don't have the ability, or they choose not to utilize their ability of using their own reason, using their own common sense, or using their own research skills to be able to find out what's going on in the world. So they rely unbelievably upon these, and I'm not saying Alex Jones or Art Bell are, because I don't think they are, but for the most part, a lot of these shills that are out there that don't actually have the best interests of humanity in mind. They have their own best interests in mind, and they either care about promoting their name or making money by any means possible. So, I mean, that's just my thought. We need to have more self-empowerment. We need to utilize our own common sense and stop relying on a crutch to have some sort of feeling of reason in the world. We don't need crutches. We can do it ourselves.
And Ryan, you're right, and that's why, I stopped idolizing. I don't idolize. There was a time when I first got into this, I thought, oh, Art Bell or Jesse Ventura, and then I got to know these guys a little bit, and it's like Jesse Ventura. I mean, if I was really about ratings only, and that was the most important thing to me, I wouldn't have said anything to Jesse. I'd want him on because, he pulls in a crowd. But, folks, I could even show the email. I honestly did. I told him that, I've got questions about some legitimate stuff. And he wanted me to stick to his questions that he was going to send me. And that might work for a Coast to Coast AM, but it don't for me. And I'm free to ask any questions I want. And if you don't like it, you can hang up on me. So
that's
Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, I was going to say that's one of the reasons in the last few weeks I've deviated from having guests on my show, not because I can't get a guest. I have some guests lined up for January and February, but some weeks I just feel like I don't want to waste my time talking to somebody who just they just have no ability to see outside of their narrow spectrum, their rigid viewpoint. So I don't want to waste time with that. I think I can do my own research, and even if it's somewhat wrong, at least maybe I'm interjecting a new perspective that people haven't heard, especially with the content of my show in particular, since it is somewhat of a very unique subject matter most nights. But the point is, though, you get a lot of these guests, and you're right, Michael, a lot of the people that I've sort of idolized or admired, you meet them, whether it's in real life or it's through digital forums, and they turn out to just be pricks, or they just turn out to be scam artists, and then you lose hope when you lose those idols, those figures that basically supported your dreams for so long, and then you realize that you're the new kid in town, if you will, and it's up to you, and it's your responsibility to not go down that same pathway, but still be able to present that type of riveting information that so many people like and enjoy. And if at the end of the day a lot of people still want to cling to those radical belief systems, then that's completely fine. But I know for a fact that there are hundreds of people that listen to my show in particular, where I get emails from, and they tell me that due to the fact that they've listened to my show and my perspectives and what I think, not that I'm right, not that I'm any better, but that's changed their perspective on the world, and it's made them think differently about things, whether it's food or health, that otherwise they would not have thought about. And that's me making a change, making a difference in the world, and that's me doing that without any money. I'm not a millionaire. I don't even have more than a couple $100 to my name, to be flat out honest with you. I've done my radio show completely homeless, living out of my car before, the thanks of a friend who let me use their home to record. So I understand what it's like to live and to be able to still do something that has relevance and substance and still make a difference in the world with having absolutely nothing. And it's not that it's, like you said, Michael, or Ira, one of you guys said it, it's not that it's bad to have money, because you deserve to make money for the time that you put into this. But when it becomes only about money, or when it becomes only about ratings or only about popularity, then you lose your soul in the process, and you become just another puppet. You're really no different than those mainline media whores who just read a script or read a teleprompter.
You're absolutely right, Ryan. One thing I wanted to touch on real quick, if you guys don't mind, is kind of going into what you're discussing here. I think part of the reason why we see these things occurring, and maybe to get into the kind of the psychological background of things here, is everybody's looking for a savior. One way or the other, everybody is looking for somebody to save them, to bring them out of whatever status they're in at that moment in time. And we latch on to people like as idols, basically, because, like, okay, all three of us are guys. And with guys especially, and I know it happens to girls too, but with guys especially, as we grow older, we realize that our fathers are just human beings. And that person that we looked up to as almost like this superhero or godlike almost status to us becomes a human being just like we are. And that crashes down a huge amount of our reality all of a sudden, like at once. And so basically from that point forward, we're always continually looking for somebody to fulfill that spot or that emptiness that's there in regards to that person, entity, whatever it may be in our lives that can, lead us, that can be that person that we can always rely on, and so on and so forth. And so when it comes to like radio hosts, for instance, such as like Alex Jones or Art Bell and on and on and on, we get to a point where we're idolizing them, but we're looking at them as almost being like a savior type of thing, to help us, to tell us what we need to, I'm sorry, kind of slipping my words, to tell us what we need to know, to tell us, tell us the truth, tell us what we need, give us the information, help us, save us from what's going on. And so what we have then, when you start seeing through that person too, is again another crashing down. So I see people that are attaching themselves to these different people in one way, shape, or form, and it really does become like a religious status to some of these people. You know, they look at somebody like Alex Jones and they are literally worshiping them, you know?
And the only reason I was excited about going on Dark Matter was because of Art Bell, and that was because I wanted to address his audience, because I was hoping, I knew that if I got a chance to get over there and be heard, that, I could wake some people up maybe, and that's always the intent. And for me, this show was designed to have guests and to do those things and to talk to as many people as I can. And I appreciate even people that have, they're stuck in their train of thought, because for at least that topic, I can pick their brains and see why they think so heavily in a way like that. I mean, I've got my opinions, and I get a chance to get those out during every show on either topics. And, some people, they do it, I could do shows and do no guest and just, I don't know. I enjoy, even the debating a little bit. I enjoy that a little bit. So for me, this show is kind of designed that way. Now, before I did Late Night in the Midlands, I did do, no guests and did that kind of thing. And, but I don't know. I enjoy it. And you're right. Sometimes I do like going solo. Sometimes it is nice. I'll let a guest go early sometimes just so I can have time to, because you got a lot to say some days. So. But yeah, there's many ways to do it. And the main thing is, I think here at L&M, we've got a good variety. I mean, you've got Ryan's show that is, while seeking the truth, is different than my show, is different than Ira's. Ira's show, different than Ryan's, different than mine. And so, I mean, we all bring a little something different to the table, which, as I like, and what's good is egos don't get in the way. And that's one of the problems you have. Like, when I noticed, maybe you noticed this too, Ryan, but did you notice ego problems over on Dark Matter with people?
Well, yeah, Jimmy Church was one of them. I clash with that all the time.
Exactly. I mean, and you know, what did these people do? They would come check out who you've got coming on your show and
then steal my guests.
Yeah, steal the guest and do all this. And then while your show is running, they come over and they go crazy on the Twitter feed for Dark Matter to, you know, try to pull your audience. And none of that never really bothered me because it's like, they're all just puppets. I mean, you know, anyone that's over there now, I'm not going to say all the show. There are some good shows. But, you know, for the most part, anything they're doing on Dark Matter, there's some control involved. Because how many times did I get an email saying, hey, keep it paranormal, don't talk about it. I'm getting complaints and this and that. And it's like, if you told me, if Ryan, if people wrote into me complaining and saying, hey, I didn't like Ryan giving his opinion, I tell them, too bad, don't listen. You know?
Yeah, that's what I tell people when they complain. I mean, I usually don't get too many complaints. People will say that, you know, they disagree here, but they agree there, and I say, okay, that's fine. You know, I duly noted.
I rarely
don't
get.
Like it, don't listen.
I rarely get any complaints, guys. That's the God's honest truth. You know, the last complaint I got was yesterday, and somebody says that I should speak a little differently. I don't know how they put it, but said that I'm hard to understand at times. And they're from Rochester, New York, too. So the accent's not an excuse. You know, I didn't even answer them. There's no point in putting any energy to something stupid like that. But you know, that's about the extent. For me, most of the emails I get are really good, and it has to do with all our shows. People tell me how much they like your show, Ryan. They tell me how much they like the network. Period. So, and I appreciate it. I save them all too. I put them all in a folder. So I figure one day when they do kill us all, if it ever happens, you know, maybe, you know, that stuff will still be floating around the internet. People could see we weren't as bad as they said we were.
Indeed.
But guys, I got to take a break here, so hang on with me. Ryan, if you want to stick around, you may. And Ira will be back in a moment. Folks, if you want to call in, we'd love to hear from you. Do you have opinions on any of this? Call in after the break. Let us know what you think, because your opinion's important too. Not going to say it's going to change the way I think, but it's important. It may. That's why I did some math not too long ago, and I got to do it again. But as of, I think it was a year ago, I mean, I don't even know the numbers now. I don't have them here no more. But, I mean, I've had like 1,500 new guests, I think, on this show in the last, I think at the time it was 7 years. And I don't know, something like that. But we've had thousands of guests on this show. Some of them are repeat guests. They're all right, and that's why we bring them back. And then there's others who are great, and we just don't get back to them right away because we do. We get a lot of requests for guests, and you know, I like picking their brain. I've had guests I've wanted to hang up on. Don't get me wrong. That are told. I mean, I had one who said GMOs was good, couldn't believe it. Then I've had dummies like Nuttatelli, who would try to say, you know, weather phenomena, weather modifications, UFOs, all this stuff is just crazy talk. And you know, we've got to talk about, you know, stopping trolls on the internet. I mean, I've had them all, folks. This is Late Night in the Midlands. I'm Michael Vera. We want to hear from you when we come back. My guest has not called in yet, so I'm guessing that the weather has taken him out. So 803-392-4LNM. That's 4566. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Hi, I'm Joshua Vera, and I wanted to inform you that Late Night in the Midlands is offering limited on-air advertisement. With 30 and 60-second spots available, or inquire about placing your banner ad on the LNM website. Or go ahead and package a deal, but either way, get the attention you deserve and join the LNM family. Contact us at mv@latenightinthemidlands.com. Again, that email is mv@latenightinthemidlands.com.
Share our content and use the hashtag LNM Radio for your chance to win a free subscription. Those who use it at least 10 times a month will find themselves entered into a drawing every month to win a free 2-month subscription from Late Night in the Midlands. So spread our news, spread our website, and use hashtag LNM Radio.
L&M fans and late nighters around the world, have you captured something on that photo or video of yours? Send in your photos and videos of ghosts, orbs, UFOs, Planet X, or just about anything content related by submitting them to the Late Night in the Midlands Facebook group or fan page, or you can submit them on Twitter using hashtag LNM Radio. And if you would rather stay anonymous, then email them to us at mv@latenightinthemidlands.com. We will share them at our new fan page on the LNM website and may even ask you to come on air a few minutes and tell us about your photo or video. Late Night in the Midlands. We're building a bridge to the truth and beyond.
Become a late nighter without the late nights. And subscribe now to help Late Night in the Midlands bring you the best guests with the best information.
Hello, this is Dick Farrell, here to tell you about OxySilver. Legally available only through CureShop.com and HealthyWorldStore.com. Don't be fooled buying silver products from copycats and criminals. So help save lives, putting drug lords and criminals out of business, and keep the LNM network broadcasting. Register for our free cooperative at HealthWorldAffiliates.com/4948. That's HealthyWorldAffiliates.com/4948. And buy OxySilver and other great products in package specials at great discounts from the CureShop.com. Buy OxySilver, GI Flora Pro, Green Harvest, Zeolove, and Love Minerals at great discounts at CureShop.com. That's CureShop.com with 2 P's. CureShoppe.com. Or call toll free at 1-888-621-7611. That's 1-888-621-7611. Do it now.
Are you a late nighter? Well, if not, here is one more reason to join the family. We have added the Late Nighters Forum to latenightinthemidlands.com, and it is open for discussion of our many topics and guests. Now you have a place where you can share your thoughts and ideas with the entire Late Nighter community. So become a Late Nighter by subscribing on our website, latenightinthemidlands.com, and start leaving your mark on the Late Nighter community now.
The LNM Radio Network offers a moderated chat room at www.latenightinthemidlands.com. Just click the chat and listen page from the drop-down menu at the top of any page on the website, or click the Listen Live button at the top of the homepage at www.latenightinthemidlands.com. Hello, Late Nighters. I recently removed my show from Art Bell and Keith Rowland's Dark Matter Radio Network. I've had many thousands of you express your love for Late Night in the Midlands, and some of you said it is a shame because, in the end, the listener is who is affected by this. I agree wholeheartedly, and that is why I felt it necessary to take the high road and leave. I was offered an opportunity to join the wealth of Art and Richard, and that my potential was there to do just as well as they did. I would have had to give up my own network and therefore turn my back on all of you who have never turned your back on me. Sure, you could have still listened to me there as long as I did not say anything that offends anyone. And if I did, there would be that no-compete thingamajigger. You see, it is far bigger than Michael Vera. It is far bigger than Late Night in the Midlands. It is definitely bigger than Art Bell. I'm talking about the truth, and that truth that is needed now more than ever in our lifetimes. With geoengineering destroying our planet's weather stability, with criminal government doing everything they can to destroy what is left of our great nation, with NASA lies, mainstream and alternative media selling out for ratings and big paydays. The L&M Radio Network is the people's network. This network is not politically correct. We do not go along to get along. We cover everything, and we expose the truth no matter who or what it leads to. Doing it one show at a time. There can be no price tag or amount of fame that can replace that. Support L&M Radio so we can continue to support you. Join us in our chat room each night and become part of the L&M family. I want to thank you all for a wonderful 2015, and I can't wait to see what 2016 has in store for us all. I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year from the L&M Radio Network and the Vera family.
From all of us at L&M to all of you, Happy New Year's.
From all of us at L&M to all of you, Happy New Year.
Hello everyone, Riscala here, your host with the Red Pill Reality Show. Wishing all of you, your family, your friends, and all of your loved ones a Happy New Year. Looking forward to 2016, making 2016 the year of the People's World Order. Thank you for listening. Happy New Year, everyone.
Our ancient ancestors celebrated the new year in the spring, and the goddess Ostara was honored during the vernal equinox, the origins of Easter. However, due to our modern world, we celebrate the new year based off of partially artificial time constraints during the winter. I'm Ryan Gable, host of The Secret Teachings, and regardless of whichever you partake, stay informed and healthy during the new year. Is there proof of God's existence in our government's records? Author Jose Collazo brings his years of research into this stunning question to light with his new book. Discover how new and experimental technologies may change our world forever and uncover monumental proof and answers to mankind's greatest questions in God Does Exist, No More Nuclear Testing, and more.
You could find Jose Collazo's book, America's New Slavery, on Amazon.com.
Become a late nighter without the late nights. And subscribe now to help Late Night in the Midlands bring you the best guests with the best information. On the East Coast of the United States, from the capital city, Columbia, South Carolina, you're listening to Late Night in the Midlands with your host, Michael Vera. To talk to Michael Vera, dial 803-392-4566 or around the world on Skype. Just use Skype ID LNM Radio.
All right, folks, we are back, and we're still alive, too. This is Late Night in the Midlands, and I am Michael Vera, and tonight, I really have kind of co-host, really, not guest. And speaking of guest, I think our guest might actually be with us here tonight, so we'll be checking in with him in just a moment as well. Folks, get on over to Late Night in the Midlands. Become a member, be informed, and by all means, inform others. Very important. We do our best to bring you the best guests with the best information, and in some cases, we bring you the best shows with the best host. What can you do? But folks, help us out so that we can stay here and continue to do what it is we do here on the L&M Radio Network, which I feel is really a very unique network. And I know a lot of them could say that, but I mean, we mean it. We really are. For a while, we would hear stuff like that. Stop! Oh, you're infighting. And no, look, telling the truth doesn't necessarily account for infighting. Again, because you'd have to be in with people in order to have infighting, and I'm not in with anyone. Ryan and Ira, they've got their own shows. They do things their own way, but we're all heading to the same direction. The truth of some of these other shows, not necessarily true. But let's get back to it. Ryan, anything else that you want to get out before we're done, because I do think that the guest is with us. Unless you want to stick around and talk survival, that's up to you.
The only thing I guess I could add for people is that there, in that new one, you heard about this $1 trillion spending bill?
No, I don't. Well, I think I did, but I don't know. Tell me.
Okay, well, towards the end of December, Congress passed and you heard this right, it's with a T, $1 trillion spending bill. But some good news that came out of this new spending bill is that the FDA might actually be forced to label this new genetically modified salmon. So even though I think there were over 500 stores nationwide that refused to sell the product, even the stores that do sell the product might have to label it. So when you go to the store, you might actually see a label that doesn't say contains no genetically modified ingredients or a non-GMO seal. You might actually see a label on fish at the fish counter that says contains genetically modified organisms, or this product was genetically engineered. And the company responded to this. Aqua Advantage, I think, was the name of the company that modified the fish. And they say that this is really negative because it'll mean that when people see this label, they won't want to purchase the product, which is the epitome of the labeling issue in the first place, is that if people knew their food was genetically altered, irregardless of how safe the FDA claims it to be, that GRAS label they give it, generally recognized as safe, the fact is even the mundane consumer doesn't feel safe eating that food or doesn't want to purchase it if they know what it is or know what's in it. So that's some more positive news. And then, of course, I had taken this weekend off because I had a lot of things going on, but I'll be back this coming Saturday and Sunday live here on LNM. I've got some guests lined up for the next couple of weeks as well. So if you go to my website, thesecretteachings.info, you can find information on all of that.
Well, that's fantastic, Ryan. And just to add to that really quick, let's not forget that China, it plans on, I think, within the next 5-10 years, well, I think the next 5 years, they plan to be able to clone 1 million cattle a year. So it won't be long.
Cloning?
Yeah, it won't be long. You'll have cloned cattle on the shelf.
Well, at least Putin and Russia. Putin announced from the Kremlin a few weeks ago that they're going to be the world's largest exporter of non-GMO food. So that's some good news. I think so.
One side problem with all of this labeling issue as well is don't forget that in this spending bill as well, they eliminated the requirement that foreign meats be labeled with the country of origin.
Yeah, so I read about that.
They have eliminated that as a requirement. And I think one of the reasons why that is because one of the things that has become very prevalent for companies to do today is they will take like, let's say, for instance, chicken, like Kentucky Fried Chicken, they have their chickens that they use and they process. They'll raise them here because it's cheap to raise them here. And there are some strictures that take place in regards to them needing to raise their product here. But what they will do is they will take the chickens and they will send them overseas to be processed. And then after they're processed overseas, like in China, for instance, they will then have them come back here to then be sold on the market. So, I mean, that's kind of telling as far as society is concerned too, considering that it's cheaper for them to raise them here, send them overseas, the expense of sending them overseas, processing them overseas, and then bringing them back here. Again, shipping costs and all that kind of stuff that's involved. That's pretty telling, but that's, I think, why they did it that way is to make it so that we don't have to know basically that they went through that processing thing overseas.
Yeah, you know what? Another last thing, and I'll let you guys go, is that I just went to see that Will Smith movie, Concussion, about the NFL and the concussions that the league has covered up for a couple of decades. I thought it was interesting that in the movie, the NFL basically used the same type of public relations that the church does to cover up child abuse and sexual pedophilia within the church by bishops and cardinals. And even one of the NFL's lawyers, I don't know if it was what part of the timeline this took place in, but was one of the lawyers for the big tobacco companies. And I just found find it interesting because watching that movie and then thinking about big tobacco in the 90s and then understanding the little bit I know about genetically modified foods and reading a lot of the literature on it from people like Jeffrey Smith from the Institute for Responsible Technology, I would make a pretty substantial bet if I was a gambler that within the next maybe a decade, maybe less, maybe a little bit longer, that GMOs will be the next tobacco, and there will be multi-billion-dollar lawsuits against these bioengineering firms because they knew the dangers of the product, and yet they allowed them to go into the market anyway, and they were able to push through these products regardless of any science to the contrary of what the FDA or what the company was producing to show that they were safe. I just wanted to throw that out there to people that I think eventually you're going to see the same type of big tobacco lawsuits, but you're going to see it for these big bioengineering companies like a Dow DuPont now who merged, and of course Monsanto, one of the biggest ones, along with Syngenta and some others. So that's my final words. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate your call, and I hope you're right. I hope they do have these lawsuits. Now, I believe we have Richard on the line. Richard, is that you?
During the break when you gave him a call, I think it went to his answering machine. So
so he's been listening to us this whole time
on his answering service. Yeah.
Oh, well, see, now I wouldn't have rushed Ryan along, but that's okay. I mean, I thought we had him. I said, it stood hooked up because I did it during the break, so I couldn't really talk to him, just add him. So, we tried, but Ira, maybe in this last hour we should talk a little bit about survival because that's what this show is supposed to be about tonight.
Sure, absolutely. I'd love to. That's actually one of my favorite topics to discuss, and I'm pretty involved as a prepper myself. So,
well, good. And I have been to an extent, certainly not as I should, but I'm all set with the battery powered radios and the flashlights and water supply. I've got a good idea. Listen, one thing I'll bring up quickly: if you're ever in a jam and you need water, don't forget, your hot water tank. Your hot water tank is always most likely going to be full with water. So you'll have that storage. And somebody, my guest tonight, told me that if you don't use those chemicals to keep your, toilet water all clear and stuff, that you can, if you're that desperate, you could actually use the tank, not the toilet itself, but the tank.
In the back, right. Actually, it was kind of funny when we were camping as a kid. I used to go camping with my parents every weekend. It was just a thing when I was a kid, and I loved it. But my dad used to make his coffee out of the toilet water in the back of the tank all the time. My mom would freak out about it, but he loved doing it. So.
Well, I wouldn't do something like that unless I had to, but those are just some tips that the hot water tank is. I don't know if there's any reason you wouldn't want to use it. I don't think there is. I think that as long as it's full, you can use it.
If it's water, go for it. Exactly. That's one of the biggest things. Like when doing the preparation idea or prepping idea, one of the steps or the first things that you need to consider is like the law of threes. It's kind of what I call the law of threes. You have certain things that you have to look at in relation to threes. So as one example, you can hold your breath for about 3 minutes. So air is the most important thing. You can last about 3 minutes at the most without air on average. Okay. Then the next step is water. You can last for about 3 days without water. So again, that next step forward in the threes, you can last maybe about 3 days without water before you start getting into some serious trouble and damaging your body. And then as far as food, you can last about 3 weeks without something to eat before you start really getting into serious trouble. Well, I think most people will get into trouble a little bit before that.
I was going to say most people can. I don't think I could go 3 weeks without eating.
As an extreme, it'd be as an extreme. So about 21 days total, you could go without food, but you're really looking at damaging your body if you go any further or even getting approaching to that. But, like I said, it's kind of that law of threes to keep in mind. So when you're doing preparations, that's what you want to look at is, do I have enough on hand to last me these 3 things. Do I have enough food for 3 weeks at least for each person that's in my house? If I don't, I'm in trouble. I need to get this taken care of. Do I have enough water for each person to be able to last 3 days worth? If not, we're in trouble. Bear in mind, as far as water goes, again, 1 gallon of water minimum per person per day is the minimum that you should get in order to stay rightly hydrated. That's a lot of water. That's a lot of water to try to just store.
It is too, and I know that people say, "Oh, I wouldn't use the plastic containers and stuff," but I'll tell you, when you're in a jam, you could add a little, like a drop of bleach to these milk cartons, milk gallons or whatever, and keep the water purified for a while anyways.
Yeah, for water purification, like with bleach, with like for instance chlorine bleach, it works. There's nothing wrong at all with doing it. I mean, that's what they do in pools. That's what they do in the water that you get from your tap too. The ratio that you want to go with as far as bleaching is concerned is 1 capful of bleach. So like the capful on the bleach bottle itself, per 5 gallons of water, and you leave it sit for at least 3 hours before you start using it.
See now, John DiNardo, I think he says that if you're doing gallons, like milk gallons, then you'd want to add like 3 drops to each one. I don't know.
That would work, yeah.
So
again, though, like the longer you leave it sit, the better off you are. And one thing to consider as well, if you're going to use like the milk jugs kind of thing, which again, nothing wrong with that. If you're going to use that though, you want to make sure to like paint the outside of your milk jugs. So anything that is either clear or really lightly colored plastic or that kind of thing, or even, glass that's clear, that sort of thing. You want to make sure to paint the outside of it as darkly as you can. Make it as opaque as you can, because any light that gets into the water, it's going to cause algae to start blooming on the inside of there, and it's going to foul your water.
Hey, that's true. That's true. Yeah, so it's probably good to have a dark storage, and I mean, buy containers that are specific for that. But if you can't, there are things you could do. Like, for some of you who drink those 2 liters of soda, when you finish one, you could fill it up with water. And like Ira said, there's steps you could take to keep it from, flipping over to the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, you want to keep it in a cool, dark place if you can. Like a lot of people store their water down in their basements, for instance, which is a great thing to do. Paint the outside of it as dark as you can, and just store it in a place like in a basement. If you don't have a basement, you could even go so far as taking a dark, again, opaque tarp and putting it over your barrels or your buckets, whatever you've got it stored in. Anything basically just to eliminate the sunlight from coming in is the biggest step. That's like the first step. I mean, when it comes down to it, like if your water isn't purified when it goes in, it's going to have little algal spores within it that they're going to bloom within a matter of just a couple of days. And sometimes if there's enough of them in there, you'll even start seeing algae after a day or so starting to grow in there. Look at fish tanks as a great example. That's exactly what happens to them. They start that blooming process in there, and then you get that nice gunk on the outside of the aquarium tank. So, that's the thing to bear in mind, is to make sure that you are doing what you can to purify it at the storage level if you can. And then before consuming it, you're probably going to want to purify it again, just in case, because sometimes parasites will survive the process of purification when you put them into the barrels. As an example, chlorine will take care of most things, but it won't take care of the one parasite. I think it's called Sporidium. Maybe somebody in the chat room can clarify it for me. But there's one parasite basically that it'll get into your gut and it'll do some pretty good dysentery type of damage to you.
And with all that, I mean, and somebody brought up a good point earlier in the chat. They says, instead of talking how to survive, how about talking why you'd want to survive?
Well, I was going to get into that. I saw somebody had asked that in the chat room earlier. I was going to get into that here in just a minute, actually. But again, just to make sure I finish up the point here, you want to boil your water. That's the biggest thing before consuming it. Make sure you boil it and take care of anything that's on the inside. There's a couple of different methods as far as boiling is concerned, though. It's not just necessarily fire boiling kind of thing that you can do. One little trick that you could probably do, Michael, because you have an old TV sitting around, if you really needed to, if you take that lens, that glass off the front of the TV, those old TVs, the CRT type of TVs. If you take that glass off of there, and it's a clear glass, and it's what's called a Fresnel lens. That Fresnel lens is actually a very, very powerful magnifying glass. And you can use that actually as a way to start fires. You could use it as a way to boil water using, like, for instance, a clear plastic bottle or a clear glass bottle. You could shine that super powerful magnified light from the sun onto the bottle and actually cause it to boil off, just like on a still, have it run through some copper pipe into another bottle or a bucket. And that is a way of purifying your water as well, even if you don't have fire.
Yeah, there's plenty of tricks like that. Like, I one of those, I'm like a desk hoarder. It's like I've always have battery powered stuff, radios, even solar power stuff, flashlights and what have you, and magnifying glass. And someone might say, what the heck you got that for? You never know. Might need to start a fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I have a lot of really cool fire starter methods. Like I use cotton balls dipped in Vaseline as one example. And those things make great fire starters. I love those things.
Yeah, like, anytime I'm going for any kind of hike like that, I make sure I got a knife on me. I make sure I've got magnifying glass or lighter or something. And I don't smoke cigarettes, but I still carry a lighter around if I'm going to be going on, anywhere extensively.
Yep, exactly. Lint works great too, like lint from your pockets, or from your dryer, for instance. That's a great fire starter right there. That stuff will burn real quick. Now, as to why to survive, let's talk about that here real quick. I got one really big opinion as far as why survival is important, or why I think survival should be considered. To me, I look at the way that life has worked, like everything in the universe since the beginning of time has done everything that it can to bring you right here at this moment in time. So all of your ancestors fought, bled, died, lived their lives, had their children, on and on and on, up until there is now the you sitting there listening to this show as we're speaking in this moment in time. Do you really think that they did all that they did, and all the suffering that they went through, all the joys that they went through, everything that the universe has gone through to bring you into fruition at this moment in time, was that just for you to give up and die?
Well, it depends, Ira. If I've got to go out in the woods and kill squirrels to eat, then I might as well be dead, because that's not how I want to live. Now, that being said, I'm guessing out of 7 billion people, there'll be some who will live just fine that way. And so I'll pass the torch on to them and say good luck.
I see where you're coming from. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the idea that I go with, is that, we as a human species, I mean, we've gotten to this point where we are as a way. I mean, this is our reason for being. We're here for a reason. That's literally what I fully believe. We're here for a reason, and everything happens for a reason. So did it all happen just for the human race to go, it's done? I don't think so. I think that we are meant to go on. I think that a lot of times, though, when it comes to people that are in our field that talk about like survival and why it's important and how to survive and all this kind of stuff, it's kind of based on that same idea, whether they really realize it or not,
Yeah, and for me, sure, I would try to survive, but I'm not a quitter, so the elements would have to kill me because I would never take my own life. It's just not who I am. But whatever would happen. I'd try to survive. I mean, for me, I could live off plants and, stuff like that. But when you start getting into me having to go the old Native American way and chasing down buffaloes and things like that. I just as soon not be any part of that. You know?
Okay, now buffalo hunting.
Yeah, don't want to go out buffalo hunting. But yeah, so why survive depends. Maybe for you there is no reason to survive, then don't. But for me, I'd have to at least fight to survive so that the children who are in my life, I can make sure, if they're dead and gone, fine, take me. But if they're still here, I've got to be here for them, if not for anything else.
Yeah, I mean that's one of my big reasons for learning the stuff that I've learned over the years as far as survival is concerned is to make sure that my kids have the best that I can give them. And if that's the case of, the world has gone to hell in a handbasket, everything has fallen apart and it's just us out there in the woods surviving, then I'm going to teach them how to survive as best as they can. That's just my own personal thought. I want my kids to be the best that they can be no matter what. Now, the big point though, as far as all this survival talk is concerned, is also I do it sometimes to remind people that nobody else is going to help you out. That's number one. You can't rely on anybody else to help you out. You've got to do it on your own. And if you can do it on your own, you don't have to worry about anybody else. But also, we are doing the things that we do. Like, for instance, when I talk about these things on my shows, I talk about them because I want people to realize that we are getting to that point where things are going to be falling apart and going to hell in a handbasket. We're very, very close to that edge at this moment in time.
Yeah, it's not a matter of if, it's more of a matter of when. And I'm not being a doom and gloomer. I'm just telling you that this stuff is going to happen. You can't deny it. You can't get away from it. I mean, it's
a cycle of history, Michael.
It's happening. It's repeating itself. This time they've got bigger and badder toys, and so things are going to happen. And you know what? You do the best you can, and the longer we wait, the worse it's probably going to be. So we should just start waking one another up, come together, and I would help my neighbor in any event. I would certainly be helpful to my neighbors. But it's not like that everywhere. I mean, like right now, I'm in a pretty decent place where, I don't have to worry about a neighbor on either side gutting me for anything. But there are neighborhoods, and plenty of them, where you will have to worry. You're going to have your little thugs coming out and looking. They won't want your TV because there'll be no power. What they'll want is other things like
they're going to want your food and your water
and your sex and all these other things. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's really going to be that animalistic at some point if it ever breaks down. And I think it will one day. It has to. This system has got to end.
Right, exactly. That's the other side part of why I do this, is to remind people, hey, this type of stuff can and will happen, but we can do what we can at this point in time to prevent it for as long as we can. That's the point. We can through the actions that we all do on a daily basis, stop these things from occurring. Stop it in its tracks. If we all, like, how many times have you said, Michael, if every 300 million people in this country stood up at once and said enough is enough to the government, it's done.
Well, yeah, it'd be that simple. And when you see like cops being over excessive on the street and beating somebody or something like, and rather than just taking video of it, go after them and tell them, hey, we're not, and I'm not advocating people going after police now. I'm telling you, you see them choking somebody to death and they're about to kill them. You do something about that. You intervene. If we would all do that, like when the IRS guy comes with his gun and wants to shoot out with William Cooper. Now, if people had stood up, these things wouldn't happen. I mean, shoot him and you're going to have 1,000 other of us chasing you down the street. And it's going to look like Gaddafi, getting kicked down the road. So exactly. If we did that, then we wouldn't have as many problems. The problem is people are afraid to do it and they feel like they've got too much to lose. The thing is, if you don't do anything, you're still going to lose.
Exactly right.
No, but you're not going to hear about stuff like that on other shows. On other shows, they're going to, it's all peachy and cream. Don't say this, don't say that, because we don't want to offend anybody. But here's another.
I hear that a lot on my shows too. Like when I'm talking about these topics, I'll get feedback from people saying, "Well, why are you talking about this?" Well, why not? This is important stuff to know.
Yeah. Well, I don't get very many of those emails anymore. But when I was on Dark Matter, I would get them. Keith would send and say, "Oh, this guy complained, that guy complained," and if I bite my tongue, I wanted to say that's because a lot of your listeners are sheep. Because they've been led down the wrong road and they don't understand that what you're telling them is just half-truths. So, I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone, but I'm really not that sorry about it. So, but here's another thing, a good idea is to have tents. Have some tents. Yes. You might need some quick shelter, and boy, ain't nothing better than having a tent.
Well, yeah, exactly. Tents are great. The small little pup tents. If you have nothing else, use one of those. They're cheap. They're dirt cheap to get a hold of nowadays.
Yeah.
I guess the big point that I want to make before getting into anything else is do what you can to prepare yourself now. Because you don't know when things are going to happen. I mean, look at this past weekend as a great example. Down in Texas, it's December. The last thing they expect is a freaking tornado to come rushing down their street.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It happened.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. It happened. Were those people sitting there prepared for this disaster to occur? I guarantee you that not a lot of people were.
I seen interviews with several of the people who said they were absolutely surprised. They had no idea. By the time they noticed it, it was too late. All they could do is jump in the bathroom. And see, here's what I do, Ira, and I've always done this, even when I lived alone and I was first doing this show. I always had, when there was severe weather coming in, I made a grab bag. That grab bag had the stuff that I didn't feel I could replace very easily. And that's what was in that bag. And when things got rough, man, I got that bag, I got in my car, and I got out of there. I had a plan. I always had a plan. Because the last thing you wanted to do, and at the time I lived in a trailer, the last thing you wanted to do was be caught in a tornado in a freaking trailer. You could forget it. You're definitely done. So,
oh, yeah.
And so it's common for me when I move somewhere. I mean, the first thing I do is I check things out, walk around the neighborhood, and see where are my options. I had one house, there was across the street years ago. There was a sewage thing that went down the ground over in the field across the street. It had a ladder and it went deep. And you know what? I didn't like the idea of going down there, but that was my plan. If a tornado come, I was going.
I would be in that sewer in a heartbeat if something came along.
Yeah, I'd be hanging on that ladder. I mean,
Yes. Yep, exactly. I'm the same way. I mean, we have a bug out bag basically for everybody that's here in the house, ready to go. It's right by the door and ready to grab and go out if need be. We have a survival kit in the car. We have our own little survival kits that are here inside the house as well. So like if things come along, I mean, like, okay, we learned a big lesson a few years ago. I guess it was about 5 years ago now. We had a really massive ice storm that came through our area here where we live. And it knocked out the power. The whole town was completely black. It went out of power, the whole freaking town. And we're a town of like 350,000 people. So this whole town went completely dark. Everybody was totally flipping out. The hotels filled up in a heartbeat. All the food literally went off the shelves within the first 12 hours of this occurring. I mean, it was just a mess. But we did okay because we had all the food that we needed already, in place and ready to go. We had ways to keep warm. We had ways to heat ourselves up. And it really wasn't that bad. I mean, yes, it wasn't the greatest situation because we're sitting there in a trailer in the middle of, basically snowball away from hell. But, it still was okay. We did fine. We were a lot better off than the people that were around us. That's for sure, because we had prepared for anything to come along.
And the bottom line is you're never going to be completely prepared for any of this stuff. I mean, if you've never been in an earthquake, then you have no idea what you're in store for. So, and I don't see how you could really prepare too well for something like that, because when it happens, it happens. I mean, I was in a little one, and it was, there's no mistaking it. I mean, when the earth starts dancing, you're nothing but a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the big thing is prepare for the stuff that might happen in the area that you are. If you're prone to earthquakes in the area, then you prep your things accordingly as far as earthquakes are concerned. And
if you want to pray
outside,
if you want to survive something like Planet X, say that was true and going to happen, then I suggest you pray, because I don't think there's any preparation. These people who say, get ready, Planet X is get ready for what? What are you doing? Where are you going?
Yeah, exactly. There's no getting around that one,
No, you're not going to hide under the ground or on a mountain. I mean, unless you can see the future and what part of the earth might not be affected by it. But I mean, so people always say, "Oh my God, watch out, it's coming." Well, if it does, what are you going to do anyways? There's nothing you could do about it.
Yep.
It's going to happen. But Ira, let's take our last break, and then we'll come back and we'll finish up. I'm sorry, everybody, that my guest, I really do. I think he got caught in some storms and that his lines are down. And that's why we didn't hear from him tonight. So maybe we'll reschedule another time to really, because we had a whole bunch of stuff to get into survival-wise. And, oh, well, we're doing the best we can without him, I guess. I mean, I've got a lot of his information, but I don't want to give you that. I want you to go and get it. His link's up on the website at latenightinthemidlands.com. I didn't take it down, still up there. You can go to his website and check out some of his tips and recommendations, water, food, full tanks of gas, all these things. Tornadoes are possible. Don't park your car in a spot where the wind's going to throw it through your house. I mean, so there's a lot of different tips that you can use, I guess. But I think when these things happen, very few people think rationally, and sometimes that's the best thing for you anyways. But tomorrow night, Russ Tanner joins me. Chemtrails, geoengineering, that is the topic. And then on Wednesday the 30th, we're just doing a year in review. And then Friday, what have I got Friday? I got all kinds of stuff here. Friday, I've got Seth Breedlove, and we're going to be talking about small town monsters. I know, it's kind of weird, but that's where we're going. So I'm sure Bigfoot will come up. They were actually doing a movie documentary type thing on this, and they say that there's some pretty good, truthful stuff out there. So I don't know. We'll talk about it. When I go on my walk, I look in the woods all the time. I walk by a heavily wooded area, and I'm always looking to see if I see a Bigfoot or something like that. And so far, I've not seen one. And believe me, if I ever did, I'd be dying to tell you about it. But so far, so no. All right. So this is Late Night in the Midlands. I'm Michael Vera. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
This is Dick Farrell, here to tell you about OxySilver. Legally available only through CureShop.com and HealthyWorldStore.com. Don't be fooled buying silver products from copycats and criminals. Read Dr. Horowitz's book, Healing Celebrations, to learn how miracle healings can be made to happen through faith, prayer, and a pure diet. Get great immunity using vitamin C, D, and OxySilver, Liquid Dentist, GI Flora Pro, a top-shelf probiotic. Use Green Harvest as a great-tasting meal substitute for energizing organic nutrients. stress and losing weight, and Zeolove, and natural clays for detoxifying your body. More advice, all these products and more are available from theCureShop.com. Register for our free cooperative at healthworldaffiliates.com/4948. That's healthyworldaffiliates.com/4948. And buy OxySilver and other great products in package specials at great discounts from theCureShop.com. That's CureShop.com with 2 P's. CureShoppe.com. Or call toll free at 1-888-621-7611. That's 1-888-621-7611. Do it now.
Hey, folks. Do you love late night in the Midlands? Do you miss shows because of the time of night? Do you wish you could listen at your convenience? Well, we can help you out with that one. Become a late nighter without the late nights and subscribe. Become a late nighter for just $5 a month. That's right, $5 a month for the paranormal, the unknown, the known, but most important, the truth. Go to www.latenightinthe-midlands.com and subscribe right away to become a late nighter and help keep the LNM radio network on the air.
Share our content and use the hashtag LNM Radio for your chance to win a free subscription. Those who use it at least 10 times a month will find themselves entered into a drawing every month to win a free 2-month subscription from Late Night in the Midlands. So spread our news, spread our website, and use hashtag LNM Radio.
LNM fans and late nighters around the world, have you captured something on that photo or video of yours? Send in your photos and videos of ghosts, orbs, UFOs, Planet X, or just about anything content related by submitting them to the Late Night in the Midlands Facebook group or fan page, or you can submit them on Twitter using hashtag LNM Radio. And if you would rather stay anonymous, then email them to us at mv@latenightinthemidlands.com. We will share them at our new fan page on the LNM website and may even ask you to come on air a few minutes and tell us about your photo or video. Late Night in the Midlands. We're building a bridge to the truth and beyond.
Are you a late nighter? Well, if not, here is one more reason to join the family. We have added the Late Nighters Forum to LateNightInTheMidlands.com, and it is open for discussion of our many topics and guests. Now you have a place where you can share your thoughts and ideas with the entire Late Nighter community. So become a Late Nighter by subscribing on our website, LateNightInTheMidlands.com, and start leaving your mark on the Late Nighter community now.
Hey, late nighters. What if I told you there's a way to hear some of our show content free on YouTube? Well, it just so happens there's a guy and supports Late Night in the Midlands, and he owns a YouTube channel I highly recommend. Non-Human Entities. Yes, non-human entities. And if you do not have a pencil handy, you can just click one of the many banners on our website. Non-human entities. That's non-human entities. Again, just look for them on YouTube or click the banner on LateNightInTheMidlands.com for non-human entities. The LNM Radio Network offers a moderated chat room at www.latenightinthe-midlands.com. Just click the chat and listen page from the drop-down menu at the top of any page on the website, or click the Listen Live button at the top of the homepage at www.latenightinthe-midlands.com.
On the East Coast of the United States, from the capital city, Columbia, South Carolina, you're listening to Late Night in the Midlands with your host, Michael Vera. To talk to Michael Vera, dial 803-392-4566 or around the world on Skype. Just use Skype ID LNM Radio.
If you want to get in on the conversation, you may do so at 803-392-4566. You can also Skype to Skype us. LNM Radio is our Skype ID, and we will take calls in just a moment. Folks, get over to LateNightInTheMidlands.com, become a member, and be informed. Be informed, and by all means, inform others. Now, I do want to say this. I mean, we're coming to the end of the year, folks, and I'm telling you, I'm getting, after a year, the whole year, I get tired of the shillery. And there's plenty of it out there. There is. And I'm going to talk about more of it on Wednesday. But as far as art goes, yes, I've seen the so-called statement that was put out, but I see he copy and pasted it. I mean, so if I could see the original, if he would do like a scan of the original and put that out there, and, he could block out his numbers and all that stuff. But that would be more evidence for me. But anybody could call and say, hey, I think I was shot at. I mean, I don't know. I would need to see something more than that. And personally, I don't care if he was or not. He's still a wuss for saying if that's why he stepped down. I mean, if that's the case, well, then all of us should just step down because, oh, boo-hoo-hoo, they're trying to kill me. I got a wife and kids, too. They've cut my lines. They've done things to me. I mean, I could tell you they'd shot at me, but then I'd be lying to you, and I don't want to be in the same category with these other guys. And so I'm not gonna make anything up. It's actually got to happen before I'll bring it up. It's just a publicity stunt. I don't care. What does Art Bell wake you up about? Tell me. What does he wake you up about? What's he telling you that you don't already know, really? I mean, the guy don't have an opinion. And, I used to say, oh, well, it's okay. But look, we're in desperate times right now, this country, this world. All right? And people who have that much power at the mic need to use it wisely. And when they don't, I question their integrity and I question their motive and their agenda. And I'll tell you what, William Cooper came out about Art Bell. Is it true? Is he a Mason? I don't know. Do I really care? Probably not. But I will say this, that, what we do here is a hell of a lot more important than what he's doing over there, because we're giving you the truth and we're not worried about if we offend somebody or not. And, I'm not looking to war with Art Bell or any of that. I could care less. He's not worth my time. Honestly, he's not. While he's talking about goblins and trolls living under bridges, we're trying to get to the answers of some of these things that, not trying to give you a real, tune in tomorrow when somebody throws another firecracker in my driveway. It's ridiculous. And, stop crying, be a man, step up and face these scumbags if that's what's happening. But I don't believe that's what's happening. I really don't. And then believe me, there's a lot of them out there. I could go on and on, but then some of you who have just started tuning in, maybe, you'll be thinking, oh my God, this guy is just so hateful. He's got something to say about everybody. But I really don't. There's some people out there that I think are doing good work. But there's a lot of them out there that I know are not. But some of you I'd never convince either way, and I'm not trying to. I'm giving you my opinion. I get emails. People ask me about this stuff. Rather than answer a bunch of emails, I like to just say it on air because I'm not afraid to say it. And if I'm wrong, well, call up. Tell me I'm wrong. I mean, but I don't think I am. All right, so we do have a call, and I will stop rambling here. Ira, we've got a call. We've got 585 area code. And I am going to guess that this got to be Bruce or Donna. Am I right?
That is correct.
Well, good evening, Bruce. How are you?
You had one guess to get it, and you got it.
Well,
so how are you, Michael?
I'm fine, and I think I'm psychic, so.
I just, for all the people out there that listen to the program and on the chat, I just wanted to make them know that I recently was looking at my stock of water jugs that were in milk cartons, which are pretty thin nowadays. And I discovered that probably better than half of them were leaking. Not dripping out, but just leaking out of the right through the material itself. So as a consequence, I got rid of all of the water that I thought I had stashed away in milk jugs or milk containers, and I'm going to have to start looking for some heavier duty, more water-friendly containers to store water in. So if anyone has, like mine was in the basement, if anyone has downstairs a stack of or stock of those milk jugs filled with water, inspect them very closely, and you may find out that they are severely compromised, and it's something that you need to address as soon as possible. Try to get some heavier duty containers.
That's great advice, Bruce. One of the problems that I see as far as the milk jugs are concerned is sometimes the seals that they have on the milk jugs as well, where they're sealed together when they manufacture them, they start leaking in those areas as well. So yeah, both problems are definitely prevalent when it comes to those milk jugs. They're not designed for long-term storage. You know, they're designed for them to sell the milk on a quick basis, and the milk only lasts in the shelves like a week and a half basically, and so that's really all.
Right. Well, some of mine, Ira had been down there for 2 and 3 years, and when they make milk jugs, they do what they call blow molding, where they just blow a thin layer of plastic out into a hot mold, which then they cool down rapidly. And they probably do have problems with a good seal over time.
You're gonna get, like,
I just wanted to bring that up. And then there's something that I just discovered today that kind of lit a fire under me, and that's I had never heard of a yo-yo fishing unit. And I just happened to discover it on YouTube. They're really cheap. They're in the $3 to $4 range, and you can buy packs of them, like 12 at a time, if you want, or you can buy them individually. And they are a little spring-loaded unit that people claim they've had them for 30 years and they still work. And all they do is you pull the line out of it. It looks like a yo-yo about maybe 4.5 inches in diameter, and you put a hook on it, and you bait it, and then you tie it up above where you want to drop a baited line into the water, and when the fish takes it, it automatically yanks it up, and voila, you've got yourself without even fishing, you've got yourself a fish that might taste darn good if you were hungry enough.
Yes, absolutely. We used to use those actually when I used to go camping all the time. We had those same things for catfishing. We'd throw them out into the channel every night, and in the morning we'd come back and have the catfish basically sitting right up near the shore because it pulled it in.
Oh, okay. So you're very familiar with them, Ira.
Yeah, love those things. They're awesome.
Well, I was not familiar with them. And I thought, well, if somebody is near bodies of water like myself, I have water everywhere around me. It would be a very good thing to have half a dozen of them on hand, so that I could rig them up overnight and perhaps get myself some fish while I'm sleeping.
Yeah, absolutely. It works, Bruce, really seriously. And I always called it, or my dad would always refer to it as brain dead fishing, because you don't have to do anything to think the fish. You just throw it in the water and it's done.
Right. And it just, when they tug on it, it just yanks them up out of the water, and voila, you're good to go.
Wow,
so
guys,
if anyone out there has never heard of a yo-yo fishing reel, they only have about 20, 25 feet of line on them, apparently. Look it up on YouTube, and I'm going to get myself a half a dozen of them just in case, because I have none, and I had never seen them before, and I was wonderfully surprised.
Someone in the chat room said you can use them for making snares as well, and that's absolutely right. I know of people that do exactly that. And they work great. They're awesome.
Man, guys, I haven't gone fishing since I think the last time I went fishing, I was 17 years old.
I go every year. I go every weekend every year. So, yep, love it.
Well, I was a city boy, so
Well, I wasn't necessarily a city boy, and I I did a lot of fishing when I was young, but once I became an adult and you've got other responsibilities, the fishing kind of went by the wayside, and I haven't been out fishing for a long time. But I'm going to get a couple of those yo-yo units and have them on hand.
That's a good idea and some good advice, too.
Yeah, they don't take up very much space either, so you could have them in like your bug-out bag or something like that and carry them with you.
Right. They're quite small and extremely adaptable. So that's all I had to say. Check out those water supplies that you might have in let's say, flimsy milk carton, gallon milk cartons, and inspect them, because I had to throw all mine out.
All right.
What really ticked me off.
Yeah, I bet it did. Well, thank you, Bruce, and that's information people could definitely use. I appreciate it.
Yes. Check those bottles.
All right. Have a great night, my friend. Thank you. And so there you go. Check the bottles. He brought up a good point there. So it's probably best, if you're going to do it right? I guess the only way you would use maybe milk cartons at this point or 2-liter bottles is if you have no choice. If things are happening and that's all you got.
Yeah, like for kind of last minute prepping and that kind of thing, or just like a rotational storage maybe kind of thing, you could use them, but I wouldn't use them for like long-term storage. If you're looking at long-term storage, you might want to look into getting like either steel drums. You can get like the 55-gallon steel drums. Those work good. You can also get actually there if you want to really go with it, there are food grade the name of them, the abbreviation for them just went out of my head, but you can get like these food grade bottles that are 350 to 400 gallons. They're square shaped, and they're sitting in a cage, and for some reason they just the abbreviation of them went right out of my brain. I brain farted on it. But anyways, you can get these cheap. They cost you maybe about $100 or so. You can get one that's been used, like for a food grade. You want to make sure food grade, because they also have them for like fracking water and that kind of thing that's out there, or for grease that's used in cars and that kind of stuff. You don't want to get those. You want to get ones that are food grade. So like ones that used to contain like the syrups for Coca-Cola or something like that. Wash them out really good, and you can use that 300 to 400 gallon water storage, just sitting wherever it is that you want to sit. They're not that expensive to get used. And so that's one method that I would recommend, because they're built for that long-term water storage kind of idea, and it'll store a heck of a lot of water. So
that's true. That's true. Now, Ira, there was a question in the chat just a few minutes ago, and it referred to Planet X and whether we think that I guess this was to us, whether we think that they'll ever officially announce the Planet X system. And here's what I got to say about it. I think that if it is real, no, they're not going to tell you about it. You're going to see it in the sky before they would ever tell you about it, I think. But I also think nobody out there, I don't care who you are, nobody out there has proven without a reasonable doubt that there's anything near us and going to destroy us. Nobody has proven that yet. Am I wrong, Ira? Have you seen any solid evidence yet? Because I haven't either. And I've seen a lot of YouTube videos. I've seen people have sent me pictures, and that's all well and good. But, for me, I'm not doubting that NASA's looked for this thing and that they might have even found it and that it could possibly be out there. I'm not doubting any of that. I've seen evidence that there's something to this. But nobody has showed me, like I've had. Let's go back and look at some of these people who I've had on my show through the years, who have told us. I mean, as far as some like John Moore for one. I mean, according to him, a show we did a while back, we should already be done. As a matter of fact, I'll even throw it at Dr. Rand, and I love Dr. Rand. But, according to him, back years ago, we would, what he said is coming true as far as seeing earthquakes and these things, but we should already be done. It was supposed to already have happened. And that goes with Ann Eller and several of the others who I've had on. And I like these people, and I'm not throwing them under the bus. I'm simply saying that, we've had a lot of people tell us that it's coming, it's here, it's next year, this is the last year, and blah, blah, blah. And it's not happened. So for me, I've got to see some solid evidence. I need proof.
It's like what I referred to earlier. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. It falls into this as well. If you're talking about an entire planetary system that's coming in at us, something would have been seen. One of the things that I see all the time is people posting videos or photos. A lot of it's photos, not almost rarely is it a video. But they'll say, okay, well, there's a second sun here, and look, we're in South America, and there's a second sun here, and all this kind of stuff. And my thought to that is, okay, if you're in South America, or even if you're in, like, I've even seen them like in Nevada, they'll be taking a picture in Nevada. Here's a second sun. Okay, here's the problem with that. If there's a second sun that's visible from Nevada, I should see that second sun here as well. There's not that much difference between South America and here, for instance. There's not that much difference from Nevada and here, for instance. So I should be able to look out in that morning sun or in that afternoon sun, take the pictures or take the video myself, and be able to see the exact same thing. But I don't. There's nothing like that in any way. So that's kind of one of my own knee-jerk response to the people that try to say that this is a second sun. If it was, we'd see it too.
Well, that's what's going to happen for me is that when I've asked people and I've given them all an opportunity to come on the show and tell how are you seeing the ones that say that they've seen it and they've got pictures of it. I've asked them, tell me how you did it so I could do it, so I could duplicate it. And I've duplicated and I've not come up with the same stuff.
Absolutely nothing. You get bupkis. Exactly. That's the problem.
We do have a call though, Ira. We've got 423 area code. You are on Late Night in the Midlands. First name, where you're calling from, please.
Hey, Mike. It's Kim from Tennessee.
Hi, Kim. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good.
Well, good.
Listen, I had something I thought I'd share with you. And I had just purchased. It's called a little rocket stove.
I love rocket stoves. Oh my God, Kim, you're speaking my language.
Oh, okay. So you know what it is.
Oh, I love rocket stoves. Yes, I'm a big advocate of them.
Okay. Anyhow, it's small and it will run off of anything, leaves, wood chips, or twigs, or fuel, and it's perfect, for cooking on outdoors if power outages or even camping.
Is that like the solo stove thing that I've got?
Yes.
Is it like that? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Okay. But this one, Amazon's got it. Amazon's got it for $24.99.
$24.99. Well, that's a pretty good deal. And you could also make these yourself if you're handy.
Well, I couldn't, but
well, I'm saying some people could. Like
I've made my own myself.
I knew you did because Ira's a MacGyver.
You can make them out of like a fire brick, for instance, and then make some cob, which you can make out of basically sand, clay, and some water and a little bit of straw. You can make cob, and you take some bricks and you make it into that kind of an L-shaped formation that the rocket stoves kind of have as their common feature. And then surround that brick with that cob, and you light that fire within that rocket stove. That cob then gets nice and warm, and that it'll release the heat from that for literally 24 hours or more. And they're awesome. I love rocket stoves. I swear by them.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, there's plenty of stuff. I've seen people who have made with coffee cans, metal ones.
You can even use tin cans if you want to, like pop cans. They won't last you more than once, but you can make them out of it.
But yeah, it's recycling. Well, thank you, Kim.
Well, it was just an idea I thought I'd share with everyone, because we know what's coming and we know what needs to be done.
That's right.
It's a great one, Kim. That's awesome. So thank you so much for reminding me about that, because it is great.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Kim. Thank you. Oh, she hit the button again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good idea. But I kind of wanted to hit back on Planet X just for a minute. I don't want people to think that I'm not bashing people who believe in it, and I'm not writing it off. That's why I do shows on it. I mean, because I want people to come and bring me something new, something that I can go off of, something that, because when I know it's real, I'll tell you I know it's real. Like, I've had pictures sent in, and these last pictures, they're pretty good. I mean, but I can honestly say that I now, after blowing them up several frames, I could say at least I personally think that they're lens flare. But I'm not gonna go bash them down and tell you, because people don't like you to tell them that their pictures aren't this or that. And you asked for my opinion, I'm gonna give it to you. And so they're on the website. Everyone can go check them out themselves. But here's my thing: if you are near me, like this guy is in Louisiana, if you could get those pictures, then I'm here in South Carolina, and I should be able to do the same thing.
You're at essentially the same latitude. You should be able to see exactly what he sees.
Right. And at the same time, if there is something out there that's threatening us, whether it be a planet, a dwarf star, an asteroid, of course they're not going to tell us. I mean, because first of all, I hate to say this, but I kind of don't blame them in a way, because look what people do for Black Friday. Can you imagine what they do if they thought the world was coming to an end?
What people did when the EBT cards got shut down for 12 hours in Louisiana. They completely freaked out. And rioting took place and everything. If they were to say, oh, yeah, well, there's a planet that's coming in and we're all going to die, everything's done. We're done.
Right. And that's just like with the whole alien thing now. But here's my thing, though. Now, this is for me because I feel I'm strong-minded enough to deal with it. Tell me. I want to know. But, I could understand why they would be hesitant to tell people, because at that point, what do you got to lose? Let's go rip their heads off, right? So
it reminds me of the quote from Independence Day, or Men in Black. Sorry, people as a general rule, people one-on-one can handle any kind of thing that you toss at them. A person, but people, the masses, they're dumb, panicky animals, and there's no doubt about it. That's exactly how we act.
And I want to discuss really quickly. I won't make this long and painful. And folks, I'm going to try to get all this out of my system in 2015, so that I don't carry any of this baggage with me into 2016. So that's why I'm bringing the things up. People email me. And one person had suggested, I've had people do it occasionally. They're new listeners. They don't know, the history. So they'll email me, which is fine. But then I let them know. I get emails sometimes about Marshall Masters. Can you send Marshall Masters my pictures? Can you do? And I'll write back to them and I'll tell them no. And here's why. Now, listen, I want to say this one more time. Hopefully the last time I have to explain this. And I hope people will listen to the archives and they'll get this. But here's my problem with Marshall Masters. Okay, Marshall Masters has been on my show several times, and I've had a ball with him. He was a fun guy. I actually enjoyed the conversation with him. Here's the problem. The problem is I watched a video of his, and I did frames. I stopped it and took pictures, screenshot frames, and I was looking at these pictures. Well, what I noticed in one frame, and I didn't see it the first time. I had to watch it a couple times. But this so-called object that he called Planet X was appearing in front of the clouds. If this is Planet X, the clouds cannot be behind it. I'm sorry, but they can't. It's just not possible. So I brought this up to him, and I said, Marshall, and I told him previously that I thought his work was great, but hey, I found this little flaw. Can you explain it? And I didn't do it in a manner like, hey, you fraud. I simply, a laugh out loud kind of conversation. And I told him, I said, can you explain it? And, I'm thinking a real researcher would say, oh, my God, you're right. Well, hey, let me go back to the drawing board and see what went wrong here. But he didn't do that. Instead, he told me to go F myself. Now, somebody who has given you time on their radio show and have given you free reign to talk and sell your CDs and all this other stuff you're trying to get rich off of, and somebody who has come from CNN, he was a CNN man before he got out. And I'm telling you, these guys are all branched off. The internet's come. Oh, no one's listening to us no more. So let's send Glenn Beck's and Marshall Masters and Art Bell's, and let's send these people out into the internet world, and we got to get control of that information. So that's what I think. But anyways, a real researcher would want to talk about it, especially to somebody who's been more than fair with him. I've never, ever attacked Marshall Masters until he told me to F off for asking a question, which is what my job is. I'm supposed to ask questions. And when I see something wrong, I'm not supposed to be like Art Bell and George Norrie and go along to get along. I'm supposed to say, hey, you said this is Planet X, but here's what I see. Can you explain it? Fine. Just admit, say, oh, well, hey, I made a mistake, or give me some science behind it. But no, you didn't do that. So for me, Marshall Masters is a fraud. He's a shill, and I wouldn't trust him. And that's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. And it's based on my experience with him. And that's all I got to say on that.
Absolutely, yeah. And you're not wrong on it. If he was any kind of reasonable researcher or scientist taking things from a scientific perspective of things, he would agree with you and say, there is a problem with this. I need to go back to the drawing board.
Exactly. And being that he just did we did a 3-hour show that night. Peter Kling was on with me, and we did a 3-hour show. Then after the show, we did another hour and a half, still talking off air. And, and so then a couple days later, I noticed something, and, I contacted him. Very polite. I've got the emails. I was very polite. I wasn't accusing him of anything. I thought, hey, he should see this, before somebody who wants to criticize him sees it and brings it up. And no, he's, how dare you point that out? Now all of a sudden, I'm some bad guy because I pointed out a flaw in his work. And that's what I do. I actually do my homework. I don't just believe what you tell me. And so Marshall Masters, he's but that's why you'll see him on Coast to Coast a lot. And you'll see these guys know because I've told George Norrie. I've sent him the information. And you know what? Shortly after I told him, he had him on anyways. These guys don't care about truth. All they care about is ratings. Ooh, he'll talk about a planet destroying everybody. Oh, we'll get a lot of listeners tonight. And that's how they are. And me, I'm like, I want to learn. Tell me, what do you got?
Yeah, exactly.
And let's talk about this. Don't. Not that I should say, oh, well, you came from CNN. Oh, you're right. I'm wrong. No. Listen, a planet cannot be in front of the clouds. Am I wrong? I mean,
it's physically impossible.
So, and there was some people, I took some heat when I first called him out. Some people who listened to the show on a regular basis, they weren't happy with me. But you know what? I stick to my guns because I know I'm right. And so and I wish everybody do that. It's, we're not going to agree on everything, Ira. And, we're going to have disagreement. There's other ones out there too. And I am not mentioning their names because I'm biting the hell out of my tongue. But there's a couple other people out there too I'm starting to wonder about. But, I don't want to sound like that's all I'm doing is going after people tonight, so I won't bring it up. But I'll tell you, there's some people who I thought were for the truth for a long time. I mean, really, 2016, we really are in a time, Ira, when the good is separating from the bad. I mean, you're seeing it.
It literally, like I've said before, it seems almost like I can almost see how a civil war forms. I'm seeing the galvanizing that's happening between groups of people right now. And it's like the dividing lines are strict. It's like a steel line between all of them, and everybody's forming themselves into these groups at this point. And I can really see how, like back in the 1800s during the time period of the Civil War, how this kind of thing could occur. I've always wondered over the years, how did people get to that point? Well, I'm starting to see it now, real life,
Well, we are. You're right.
It's disturbing.
Yeah, and we are seeing that because people are finally, when I first started doing this show, a lot of the emails I got were just, people telling me I'm crazy or I'm a shill or I'm a fed because I have this guy on, and now I'm noticing people have woken up. They're waking up to this stuff. And I'm not saying everything we cover is, something, that's got to do with the truth. Not everything. Some things are just discoveries and expanding the mind and just discussing something to try to come to some sensible conclusion on it. But yeah, we're right. In this day of age, what we're seeing a separation of the BS. These people who have been controlling the information for a long time, your Art Bells, your George Norries, your Jeff Rentzes, and again, I don't know Jeff Rentz, but I've had whistleblowers come forward to me, but I got enough enemies. I'm not trying to get any more, right? So, your Alex Joneses and all these people who have been the gatekeepers of information, your Richard Hoaglands and all it's starting to break. They can't do it no more. People are seeing through it. And that's why I always say, and I mean it, and I'm not just trying to be some character on TV here. The actual truth is, honesty is the best policy, because these people who are listening to these shows are not stupid. They're not stupid, and one of them are going to catch on to you if you're lying. So you better keep it right. And see, these guys, the truth is starting to come out on all these people. And so I think going into 2016, you've really got to decide, are you a sheeple or are you a people? Are you going to listen to shows that have hosts who are real people, have real families, real problems just like you, and try to get to the real answers of this stuff, and doesn't tie themselves down with, oh, well, he's a big guest, I don't want to say anything, he might not come back on my show. But yeah, well, I don't want to swear, but you know what I'm thinking, right? On you, buddy. But yeah, so now you've got to decide as a listener, are you going to keep supporting those who try to give you a good story rather than truth, or are you going to support the people who are really putting their asses on the line for you? And I'm not going to say, well, that's me or that's Ira. You decide that. But remember, it's your decision. So when you go and you fund these people $60,000, $70,000, $100,000 a month, you're basically giving them a free pass to lie to you because you're supporting their lies. And that's it. So, we get support here, but nothing like these people do. But that's because we're honest, and the good guys finish last, right, Ira?
Yeah, exactly. I want to take just a second here and clarify when I was talking about those bottles in the cages earlier. They're intermediate bulk containers, or IBCs. Just to clarify the information, my brain stopped farting. So
no good.
IBCs, that's what they're called.
Yeah, well, good. Well, Ira, we're just about out of time. We actually got through the night, so I appreciate it. We kind of jammed through the night, and I hope it wasn't too much beating up on people. But, folks, I've had it. We're at the end of the year. I've got to talk about this stuff because I want to go into 2016, and I want to get the monkeys off our backs. And so I'm gonna do that. And Wednesday, Ira, you'll be joining me. I think I'll be doing a little bit, probably the first 40 minutes solo, and then I'll be bringing you aboard, and anyone else that wants to join us. We'll be doing the year in review. Let's talk about things that have happened. Let's talk about what they really meant, and we'd love to hear from listeners. And I want to talk about some of the shills who have fallen by the wayside because people are catching on to their lies, like Dark Matter. I mean, exactly. Yeah, so it is what it is. The good and evil, that battle, it's real. It's not biblical. It's not, and to me, it isn't. It's not religious. It's real, is what it is.
Absolutely is.
Yeah. So all right, well, Ira, what do you got coming up?
On Wednesday at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on LNMRadioNetwork.com. You're going to hear my show live. I'm going to be talking about media manipulation and propaganda. It should be a pretty good one. 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right, and with that being said, folks, we're winding down 2015, and we're looking forward to heading into 2016 and seeing what is on the horizon for us here. Folks, don't forget, most of the radio stations are owned and operated by the big companies, but you know what? Take that chance. Contact your local radio stations, your talk radio stations. Tell them about Late Night in the Midlands. And let's get us on the air in your city or your town. And, I don't care how small the station is. See, over there, that other place, it's about, these guys don't have a lot of listeners, so we can't know. Look, if you've got the cojones to run shows like this on your airwaves, I want to be a part of that. So definitely contact your local stations. Tell them to come to LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Tell them to take a listen. Folks, keep your eyes posted to the sky because you never know what you might see. Keep your ears posted to this broadcast because you never know what you might learn. We'll be back tomorrow night talking about geoengineering. Good night, everybody.